What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to SpawnCast, another Saturday night. And I actually have a lot of people here with me tonight because there's a lot of stuff that happened this week. This is actually going to be hard to get it in the 2 hours because there's so much stuff that happened. So we're going to let you guys kind of get in here as we go down the introductions here. I'm going to start with Max, Dreamcast guy. How are things there, Max?
Busy and epically fun.
Epically fun, yes. What have you been up to, man? Anything good?
Just lots of projects. I'm trying to, my goal for this month is to beat every single Kingdom Hearts game. So almost every single second that I'm not writing a video, I'm playing Kingdom Hearts. And man, those games are really emo, but they're pretty good.
Yeah. What's this? I saw this on Twitter before we start really getting into the video game talk. What exactly does it mean when you do a drunk painting?
So it's this class here. I'll actually show you. I have it hanging up in my office. I'm so proud of it. But there's this class. They have them all over the place, but it's called
the wine and painting classes.
Yeah, painting with a twist. And so they actually have like what's probably a art teacher who can't get a real job, and she teaches a bunch of drunk, basically rich white people. And me and my friend Jocelyn, who's in some of my videos as Dreamcast Girl, we went and did it. And this is my shitty, completely terrible painting. But it's
how much alcohol do they give you? Is there like a certain point? Like, do they?
There's a lot of bottles of wine, and if it gets too quiet or like she can tell people are getting too serious, she actually has like a bell she rings, like, uh-oh, it's time to ring the bell, and she rings the bell, and everyone has to go woohoo and take a couple more drinks. So sort of things where by the end of the painting, you can see I painted the water first, and that looks great. And by the time it came down to making leaves, I was pretty drunk, so all of a sudden all my like leaves are melting off. So It's good. Painting with a twist, though.
I looked around for local art gigs once, and that was actually in the listing. The listings for that type of thing are just hilarious to read because you can mix wine depressing
with almost anything and make it better.
It's true. It's true. It's just like this game kind of sucks. Or I'm gonna do a puzzle.
I need some wine.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so let's jump over to Evan. He's here as usual,
yep,
moderating the chat and then filling in for some topics because everybody here has a topic that they're gonna talk about today. So it's a lot of fun. But Evan is here. Evan, how are you doing, man?
Doing all right. Just getting off that really long week for retail. So
are things slowing down a little bit now?
Yeah, even scheduling. I literally only work one day next week, so I'm going to be tearing into some stuff for Spawn Wave as well as my own things.
Cool. You got a lot of art stuff going on too, right?
Yep. More shirt designs, possibly more assets for us to have in videos. And should be pretty good.
Yeah, we're trying to rework a lot of this live chat thing. I'm excited for that when we get to that point. So that's going to be really fun. And we probably have a website launching at some point too. So Evan will actually be kind of busy with a lot of that stuff. And we have our guest, someone you actually have not seen, new to the podcast here. We have Jeff from SmashJT. Is that correct, Jeff?
That's correct. All right. You got it.
Got it right. You want to tell us very quickly a little bit about your channel, man?
Do similar stuff to RGT and Dreamcast guy. Do reviews, topical stuff based on retro and current.
Okay, cool.
But not exclusive.
Very good. Yeah. I looked at it. Looks like you do a lot of editing and everything with your stuff. Looks pretty good, man. Looks professional. So
I like to fool as many people as I can.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Ale's World of Gaming dropped 5 in the super chat. Said big fan. Hope to be a part of the SpawnCast someday. And shout out to Newswave, best part of my mornings. Thank you very much. Newswave weekday mornings, 8 a.m. Eastern time. But yeah, we're working on getting different people in to the SpawnCast. So it's something we're working on, and we'll keep going with that. But I appreciate the shout out there for Newswave. And then we have Sean, RGT85. How are you doing, Sean?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Been
liked your video. Was that yesterday when you did the NES Capcom games?
Yeah, it was yesterday. That was a fun video. It was hard though. I didn't realize Capcom had made so many games until I was like researching it, and I was like, oh yeah, they made that. Oh yeah, they made that. So a lot of stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was fun. Do you like going back to some of the retro stuff when you get a chance?
Oh yeah, I love doing it. Like whenever I quit my job, like I'll start doing retro videos again. I'm actually working on a parody video that's going to require me to shave my face.
I saw that on Twitter. I was like, what is he talking about? How's he going to shave his face?
Yep. Don't do it, man. Don't lose the beard.
He'll be fine. He'll just get real stressed and angry. He'll just pop back in.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but yeah, it's gonna be funny. Unfortunately, the guy I'm parodying, I don't think he quite likes me, but I've gotten the stamp of approval from several of his friends, so we're just gonna go with it.
It's good.
Oh, is this another YouTuber?
Yeah, it is.
Ah, fun. That's cool. That's cool. I'll have to check that out. We'll check that out whenever that's good to go. So let's move over, of course, to Rob. How are you doing, Rob? That's Rule of 2 review, Rob.
Yes, yeah, Rule of 2 review. What's up? Always love being back on, so thanks for having me.
Very good, man. Very good. How have you been this past week?
Good.
Week or two?
Also
2
super
weeks, 3
busy.
weeks.
It's been since I've been on probably about 3 or maybe 4 weeks actually. I think it was like early December I was on, but
yeah,
it was super busy.
It was since Star Wars, right? So like Star Wars has come and gone since then. Okay.
It was about 2 weeks after Star Wars, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, 2 weeks after the game, and then also 2 weeks before the movie, which has been a whole different crazy conversation.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
That's I've seen you very active on Twitter about the Star Wars.
I do as much Star Wars stuff as I mix it up with like Nintendo and gaming, and I'm starting to do a little bit more Star Wars stuff just because I love talking about it. So it's been fun. It's been cool.
Very good, very good. So what have we all been playing this week before we jump into some of the topics tonight? We had a lot too to get to. So what do you guys been playing? Let's start with that.
Just been dipping back into all the old competitive games. Nothing too serious. Nothing really striking me yet.
I saw you jump in Overwatch, man.
Yeah, I wanted to check it out for a little bit. Hadn't played it for a while.
And did you do any more Payday 2, or has that kind of been back on the back burner now?
I actually completed a full stealth mission with a friend of mine, which was really fun. So I'll probably pick that up occasionally.
Okay. I think it'll get very popular when it comes out on the Switch, at least for a little bit, when that audience picks it up. But it's a fun game. It is. What about anyone else? What else you guys been playing this week?
I just started. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I beat, I don't know why, but in one sitting they randomly sent me Black the Fall, that like puzzle side scroller, and me and my roommate just like beat it in one sitting, sat down for like 3 hours, just beat the whole game, and man, did I not like it. It's one of those games that's really interesting because it's just such a ripoff. It is just a 100% ripoff of the game inside, like art style, pacing. Some of the puzzles are so close. I don't know how a lawyer doesn't just walk on screen and go, fair use, fair use.
Inside was good too, man.
Yes. And I think it's one of these, if I'd beaten Black the Fall first and Inside second, I probably would have enjoyed it more because it's definitely a well-designed game, but it just is so close. It's like watching an AC/DC cover band after watching AC/DC. It's just like, it's all right. I know the original. Thank you.
What about Jeff? You tried to jump in there. What have you been up to, man?
I just finally started Horizon Zero Dawn, and it is freaking incredible. So
nice. Did you get the complete pack? I think there was a complete one out that came with the DLC.
I got that for Christmas, and I'm about 12 hours into it right now. I feel like I'm just scratching the surface of it still, but
it's a long game. I mean, Max really liked that game, so.
Oh god, yeah, gave him my game of the year.
I was telling one of my buddies, it's the first game I've played in a very long time that emotional while watching the training montage of Rocky.
And what about Rob? What have you been up to, man?
Oh, dude, I've been so schizophrenic with my gaming because I've been really busy with work. But I've been weirdly playing some more of Call of Duty World War II, which I didn't love when it came out, but I'm starting to kind of get re-addicted to it. And it's like for the simple, dumb fun of Call of Duty, for like half an hour, I've been digging playing that a little bit and trying different modes. I finally downloaded on Christmas Day. Actually, I downloaded the DLC for Zelda finally, and I've done about half of the main Champions Ballad stuff. Yeah. And then what else have I been doing? Some Xenoblade. Finally got a little bit into that. I mean, the last time we talked about Xenoblade, I had done like 10 minutes of the game.
Dude, that game is crazy long. Like that is a long game.
Yeah, and you know what I've noticed about it too? It's that I've played Xenoblade since the first one on the Wii, and they're so good. All three games are so good, but damn it, man, I just think JRPGs are maybe getting too difficult for me. I don't know if my old man brain can keep up with a lot of
this is a little different as a JRPG. It's not quite like you stop for battle, everyone takes their turns kind of thing. So
true.
Wait for one of those games to come out to see where you are, where you stack up with that.
Yeah, and those are the kinds that super intimidate me, and I've never really been into them, so I'm like I'm out of touch with those. I've barely ever even touched Final Fantasy, which Max I know will drive you crazy. I've barely touched Final Fantasy.
Our friendship is over.
Oh,
well,
man,
even 12, even 12 isn't really like that though. That's the thing. They haven't really done like a straight up, like straight up turn-based game in a long time. Like nothing. I mean, I guess Lost Sphere is coming out, but that's more like Chrono Trigger even.
Well, even so, it's even weirder than that because you actually walk around in Lost Sphere in combat. Each person, as you take your turn, you actually physically walk around the battlefield, and everyone else is like frozen, and you choose where to attack from.
Maybe Project. I guess maybe Project Octopath. Maybe.
Yeah, Project Octopath is probably gonna be our next real big.
And that's when I'm glad you brought that up, because that is when I'm totally diving into. I didn't play the demo, but everyone raved, and I love that.
Demo's good, man.
Style.
Demo's good.
I know, dude. I hear that, so I'm really excited for Project Octopath. Plus, having a game like that on the Switch is cool. So.
Yeah.
I guess Sean's the last one left. We've been playing, Sean.
Tiny Metal.
Did you hear the backstory on that game?
Wasn't there some Kickstarter madness or something?
I covered it in a Newswave. People are mad because they think that allegations online that Project Phoenix, which was a very, very popular Kickstarter, that funds were used from there to make Tiny Metal.
Yeah. Well, they didn't use all the funds because there's some issues with the game.
Well, at
its core, it's pretty fun, but like that whole intro cutscene, like, have you played it?
Yeah. I played it on PC and Switch, and Evan actually has it on Switch right now.
Like, the intro cutscene is like garbage.
Well, the whole game, when you start doing the battles, it drops in resolution heavily. I don't know if you've noticed that. Like, for some reason, it's very weird.
I've got a lot of screen freezes in it, and I had a lot of sound issues of like a rocket would go off and the background music would stop for a second. Like, what the hell? What the heck?
It's good. I think fundamentally it's good because it's just the Advance Wars formula.
Advance Wars, yeah.
But there's just so many. It's like rushed almost, like the cutscene, the intro cutscene is all choppy. Half the time you can't even skip the damn thing. It's like, what the hell? And then the 3D character models where they fight each other, it looks like Jaguar CD renders. It's like,
It does.
Oh man,
it literally does. Like early Saturn, late Jaguar CD renders. It's like, what the hell? The gameplay is decent, but it's just
crazy on my first playthrough on PC because even some of the menus felt like they were set up for a touch screen, and I'm sitting there with a mouse clicking on things, and for some reason it wouldn't trigger. I was like, what do I do now? What's going on?
So I've been trying to work more through Assassin's Creed. The new one, Origins, on the X, and it's okay. It's just, I think, Max, you're right. It just kind of gets boring at times because I'm doing the same kind of missions a lot. I will say that. But other than that, I actually went out in like real life today and played at an arcade. So yes, I played. Well, it was kind of an arcade. It's a new Dave & Buster's that just opened.
Oh, you went to the Dave & Buster's? Oh, cool.
Yeah, there's one in White Marsh, like 40 minutes from here. 45 minutes.
So they had Assassin's Creed at the...
Oh, no, I played Assassin's Creed throughout the week. This was, I went there, but they had a Luigi's Mansion themed game. They had Mario Kart. They had 3 different Time Crisis games that I played.
Sweet. It takes me back,
I played a lot of Time Crisis games. Yeah, they had like a Walking Dead game. They had a lot of games. And then I went and I walked around the mall because it's actually attached to the White Marsh Mall out here. And there was a retro store that I found. I think it's called Regen. And I walk in, and they had a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 cabinet.
Nice.
And they had it must have been near mint condition Turtles in Time.
I saw that post on Twitter.
Yes, I posted on Twitter. I was like,
I just wanted to touch it and feel like my 15-year-old self and just be like,
dude, it was they had it set up as free to play.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, just to get people in the door, I guess, for the store. But otherwise, the store itself wasn't very good. Their selection was pretty bad, and it was just. But that was cool to see both of those machines. It was pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I always like finding those little like small stores like that just to see what they have.
Well, those are like the 2 of the cream of the crop games of that era, of the arcade like 90s era. That's like it really doesn't get much better than that. Yeah, I think you can throw the X-Men arcade game in there because that's
really
great.
If you can find it, that takes up a lot of space though.
It does, especially the full 6-player version. Like, it's crazy.
I have a friend who's a pilot, and he spent years finding it, and he managed to find the 6-person cabinet, and the insides were basically fried. So he had to spend an additional 3 years basically finding the original boards and having somebody rewire it. And now that he has it hooked up, like every party, like, hey guys, I'm having a party, totally unrelated, but please play this arcade cabinet. I spent thousands of dollars making.
Also, somebody has to be Dazzler, so somebody figure that part out.
Yeah, well, and he loves the fact that when you finally get to Magneto, his opening line is "Welcome to die." It's like the best bad translation ever.
There was I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Rob. You're good.
Yeah, I was going to tell a quick story too. In Denver, where I'm from, there's a barcade called One Up. There's actually 2 different ones. It's called One Up, and it's a cool place for like hip young people to go and like hang out and drink and be crazy. And it's just filled with like a bunch of arcade machines. And even out here in Portland, where I live, there's one too. But they had this, like, when they finally got the X-Men arcade machine, they were all over like their Facebook and their social media about, we got the X-Men game in. but one of the players was totally busted, so it really didn't feel like the complete experience. We tried to play it like at a bachelor party for one of my buddies, and someone got stuck with the really crappy one where beer had been spilt on the joystick and like it didn't move very well.
That's why, man. That's why I'd be
It
terrified
sucked.
about that. Like, some drunk person's gonna break an awesome machine, and even if you break one of the two players on like Street Fighter, I mean that cabinet's basically worthless because you can't play against each other. What's the place near us, Evan? I think it's in Wilmington, or is it Philadelphia? Is it called like 1984?
Are you talking about the barcade?
Yeah, there's a barcade around us.
We have tons of them in Dallas, Texas. We have like 6 of them. There's cider bar, barcade. They're super, because we have a crazy hipster population here because we have a big arts district. So they just like, oh, let's just look at an art gallery. Perhaps we'll just drink and play Mario. It's like, oh, okay.
I think it's a cool trend, man. I like the trend of them. So.
Yeah, right. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So, you guys ready to move into some news / rumor material that we have here? Because we have a lot. There's a lot of stuff to go through. Before we start, make sure anyone who's watching is careful, because that if you're hovering over that like button, I don't need you to click it and get us trending. That would be really bad. So be careful if you get near that button.
Trending is for suckers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Not wrong.
Carry 2060 said in the super chat, do you think AMD can catch up to Intel because of the meltdown in Spectre? See, I don't know if a lot of people are aware of what's happening outside of maybe Evan. Evan might be aware.
I've looked into their issues of security.
Yeah, they both have issues. I don't know if anyone else in the. I guess I can ask anyone else in the room has read into that at all.
Yeah, I know that Intel got caught like doing insider trading, and I know that
that's actually a bigger deal than what's actually happening outside of that. I can talk about it a little bit though.
Well, see, it's one of these where I've read the headlines. I have no idea what any of it actually means.
Okay. What about anyone else? Really? No, any information about it?
Not familiar, no.
Okay. Yeah, there's the Intel bug, the meltdown, and then there's Spectre for AMD. They both have their issues, but AMD I think's been mostly patching it alongside the OSs, whereas Intel's is worse though, because it can actually run malicious code, whereas Spectre is more of it can spy on you, it can spy on programs kind of thing. That would be something like keyloggers be good for, but like malicious code can actually be run because of this bug. And like you said, Max, the guy was caught. Essentially, it's weird. For some reason, people are saying it's not illegal, but it's extremely shady.
It's that moral gray area, because it sounds like he followed all the rules, but the rules specifically to like the razor's edge of being absolutely illegal.
It just feels bad. That's a bad image for Intel, but it sounds like he sold a lot of his shares off before this bug came out. Like seriously, like what, a day or two before?
Yeah, but because they planned it ahead of time, it was okay, but the plan was like a month prior.
Yeah, which means they could have found out about the bug and they were like, maybe we should start selling our shares. And he sold a lot of them to get out of it. So AMD has their own problems, but they have a great chance because it comes down to really how the public views these companies. And after that stunt, that's tough, man. That's tough to trust a CEO like that who's going to be doing that kind of stuff. And the fact that your Intel processor will probably start to slow down until they really start to get it figured out. So the good news is, though, Intel processors might actually drop in price in the secondhand market. So there you go.
Good.
Because they will eventually fix it completely. It's just going to take time. So if you're planning on, say, building a computer and you find something like a 7700K, an i7 7700K for like $200, well, there you go. That's a good deal, and hold on to it. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. I do think AMD, with their better CPUs right now, have a great shot at least taking a big chunk out of Intel's market. But the big chunk would have to come out of the server business, like Amazon, places like that use a lot of servers. Microsoft usually use Intel. If AMD can convince them, then there you go. That would really hurt them. So with all of that out of the way, what do you guys want to jump into first? You guys all pretty much showed up to the podcast with some sort of news / rumor that you wanted to kind of talk about.
I'll throw out my Xbox leaks.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Go for it, Max.
So there were 4 big things. Basically, this guy, he has clearly said that he is not a Microsoft employee. He's not even Microsoft employee adjacent, but he somehow find this backdoor access to Microsoft servers so he can see project names way before they're announced. He's had like a 100% accuracy with a lot of his leaks so far, and he randomly made this post basically saying that there is going to be a Fable 4 that's currently in development that's going to be called Project. It's currently known as Project Wisdom because everything has code names. Perfect Dark is being made, and it's being created by the studio that did Gears of War 4, which is the Coalition.
Coalition, yeah.
Which is kind of strange, but also I think that at the very least we could probably assume it's probably going to be a third-person shooter this time. That sounds like they're going to be making a massive multiplayer version of Halo. Like they want to have Halo, but it sounds like currently all the internal testing they're doing is just about making games the biggest they possibly can, like really kind of amping it up and making like, he doesn't say exact numbers, but from his phrasing, it makes it sound like 40 versus 40 matches or something, like crazy Halo wars.
Okay, I was thinking like when you said, I was thinking like Destiny for a minute though, but it sounds like it's going to be more like Mag.
I was thinking
yes.
for a minute.
Yeah. It, from the way he phrased it, it definitely makes it sound like bigger matches instead of just like changing, so not quite Destiny, definitely more of like, let's see how big and how long we can get a match going. And the final thing he hinted at is something mech related, but definitely he said specifically later on, not mech assault. He definitely said that it's mech related and it's stuff that would make some of the bigger ups who have been working there a long time happy, but definitely specifically not mech assault. So
it's probably Mech Warrior.
I was going to say Mech Warrior. Are those the same series or are those different though?
Yeah,
Mech
it's
Warrior, Mech Assault.
Same series. Yeah, the whole thing was Mech Assault was just made to be the arcade version. Because if you ever played the Mech Warrior games, are actually the robot simulations. You have to vent coolant. You have to do all sorts of really manual stuff. Whereas Mech Assault was kind of just like, whoa, bro, blow up these robot hookers. Yeah.
And then there's Mech Warrior 5 Mercenaries is making the rounds a lot recently.
Yeah.
I think we're also leaving out one huge game known as Steel Battalion. What if they wanted to bring that back?
Oh gosh,
that's true. That's true.
need a new connect.
No, isn't that first party? Isn't that a Microsoft IP?
It is. So I don't know why they
Capcom made it.
Oh, was it?
Here, let's see here.
I thought it
Fact check.
I'm not sure.
Oops,
I do remember seeing Capcom at least on the box art. I thought,
but they did do because they released that first one on the Xbox, the first Xbox with that huge controller.
Capcom published it.
Alongside Microsoft Studios.
Oh yeah, alongside Microsoft Studios.
So we're both right.
Actually has it.
There we go. Sweet.
Everybody's taking home a victory.
Right.
The developers though were Capcom specifically.
Wait, it said it was developed by From Software.
Really?
Isn't that no? That's a
Heavy
different
Armor. No,
are you
Heavy
talking about Heavy Armor? Okay,
Armored Core? Is it Armored Core from Software? Am I wrong?
Oh, is that shitty Connect?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It is Armored Core. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. And then the Connect game, Sean, you were talking about, there was a Steel Battalion Connect game.
Yep. And it was super broken.
It was terrible.
That was the one made by From Software.
Angry Joe has this great video. Angry Joe has a great video of him like where he's like reaching it, like this guy is like on fire and it's like pull the fire extinguisher button and he's like come on and the character is like standing up and going like this and it's like just grab that switch. Oh man, that game was awesome. So I hope Steel Battalion does not come back. I love the original, but man, that needs to be dead.
What about
Fable?
Stay in arcades.
Fable,
get Fable back.
I could care less about Fable.
So I'm a big Fable fan, but more than just being a Fable fan, I'm interested by the project name. So each of the Fable games actually had a project code name that related to how they ended up playing. Like the first one was called Project Ego, and it was all about building a custom hero for the first time in a game. So this being called Project Wisdom makes me think that we may actually get to have a maybe more magic focused one for once and literally have a mage coming in the world, or maybe we're actually playing as one of the Oracle characters since every Fable had an Oracle character. But man, whatever Project Wisdom is, it's definitely being handled by a new studio. So who knows? This sounds cool though.
I'll tell you what, that Perfect Dark sounds like booty cheeks, though.
You don't think it's gonna be good?
I mean, a perfect. It to me, it's kind of like what's happening with Gears of War. I mean, Gears of War. God of War. Like too different to be under the same name. You know, like if it's Perfect Dark is a first person shooter. Like that's just what it is. Like I don't know. I don't like keeping the name of a franchise just for the keepsake of it. And like people say, oh, well, Zelda was a huge departure. It was like, yeah, but I mean, still Link at his core was still the same 3D Link that you've always played as. You just could do more. It was an extension. But
I'm halfway on your side with that, RGT. Sometimes I like it and sometimes I don't. Like I like the new God of War's direction, but at the same time, I immediately think about the fucking awful Turok they did on Xbox 360 where you're a buff dude in the future. It's like, bro, you literally at the end of that game kill a T-Rex with a knife. It was so bad. Like, this has nothing to do with Turok at all. It's like, hey, I'm a Native American, or at least my ancient ancestors were somehow, even though we're in space, and I use a bow and arrow to honor them. Like, what?
So bad.
Yeah,
bad.
like
That was like,
you can't even jump in the new God of War. Like, it's just such a huge departure. And like,
You walk around like this. You don't need to jump if you walk like this.
yeah.
No, you can't jump. That's like been confirmed. It's just, I don't know. It seems weird. Like, I loved God of War.
They're trying to make it like
I don't know what they're doing.
They're trying to make it like Last of Us. Let's be honest. This is 100%. It really looks like it's cashing in on that. Like, it's weird to think that it's becoming its own little genre, but the slower, very linear, over-the-shoulder narrative experiences where it's like there is combat and stuff, but the point is the story. People don't really compliment the shooting of Last of Us.
But it seems weird that they're taking something like God of War, which has never been realistic, and they're trying to make it realistic. I feel like the game was successful because it was so over the top and just crazy. He's ripping people in half and stuff, and it's like,
boobs and stuff. Like, that was cool.
Yeah,
but now it's like, I'm an old man. I don't have my rage to my son.
I think what they're trying to do with that though is, like, God of War was like so heavily criticized for being like this simple one-dimensional idiot guy who's like, I'm just angry and I'll kill, and like now they just the game. And I mean, I'm with you. I love that. I love those classic games. I loved the camera angle that you couldn't control. I liked the game being in control of that. So I think maybe that's why, because John, you bring up a good point. Like, those games were great, and I don't know why they would change it, but I think it's because it's been criticized for being so simple and so the same. By the time Ascension, the prequel, came out, it was like, really, we're still doing this?
That one got the worst of it. Yeah.
Well,
and it's also the worst game. I'm excited for the new one. Like, I have high hopes for it. So
I think it's just I 100% think that they're making this to try and rope in the God of War haters, because you got to think now they're trying to cash in on the biggest group possible, and God of War sales have been going down over the years because people like me, like, I am not interested. I do not like a blind hack and slash game where the fucking hero is like basically an immortal bro.
Oh, I do love that.
You mess with me in my fucking space.
I'm a sucker. I totally love it. I admit it.
So I like that all of a sudden it's like, oh man, now that I messed with those space boobs, now I have a kid and he doesn't have space boobs, so let's fight.
I want to know who the mom is and like which one of the whores you bang in the game like ended up being the mom. Like,
which
it's gonna turn into like
press circle for pregnancy.
Yeah, it's gonna turn into like God of War Mori very quickly.
Yeah, like,
you are the Godfather.
You are the Kratos.
That's great. It's gonna be. I don't know. I mean, it's weird. We're gonna go into a God of War game and we're not gonna know what kind of rating it's gonna get. We don't know how good it's gonna be. Yeah. So everyone's gonna be like glued to Metacritic when that game comes out.
I do have, and I know we probably want to move on from it, but I am super massively excited for the new God of War. But I do still have some reservations because, like, kind of we've been talking about the change in the gameplay. Like, the whole thing about moving it from that game controlled camera angle to the behind the shoulder thing is my big fear. I've mentioned before is that it would almost become like any other game, kind of like Max, like you're saying, it's going to become like a Last of Us, which we've already been doing. Mm-hmm. And I like that God of War, like those first four games, no other game plays like that but those God of War games. That's the one thing you can say about it. And now it's like, well, is it going to play like other games? So it might lose some of what makes it good. So it's tricky.
I know, just as a final note, sometimes when I see projects, they kind of look like critic bait. We're seeing this new thing kind of pop up where it's like people are definitely making games for high review scores. And we've definitely seen a thing of like, you can make a game like really slow and emotional, have a scene of a man holding his dead child, 10 out of 10 every time. So it's just like, it's going to be one of those things where like, let's see if we can get at least one 10 out of 10 God of War. We'll get a 10 million sales. Then I'll go back to pressing circle for me.
You know, I've thought about that, Max, for a while, why that happens. I just feel like critics want games to be taken seriously so bad that if a game is very close to something you would see in a really good, well-done movie, that they're very willing to give it a good review score because of that.
Well, it's also, I mean, they spent a lot of years in, like, people who review for websites have journalism degrees, which are extremely hard to get. And you actually have to study the art of checking sources and get special degrees and how to read a book and stuff. So I think it's just one of those things where when you come out of a school like that and someone hands you something, goes, this is a narrative masterpiece. All of a sudden you're like, all right, time to pop my collar. This is an eloquent journey to the soul, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that's that you're probably right about that. I feel like they want it to be taken. That's one of the reasons I don't think a lot of them like that Last of Us trailer, how violent it was, because they wanted to be taken seriously, and you wouldn't show something like that during the Super Bowl. So,
Do you
all right.
feel like the game days are focusing too much on story and forgetting to make it fun?
Oh, that's a good question. At times I do. Like, what was the game? Was it the Order 1886?
Yeah.
That one kind of felt like that, where they were like, it looks great, so everyone will like it. And then it came out and it turned into a $10 dollar bin game in like the first month. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, when does it turn? I mean, we see Detroit. That's almost a movie, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
It looks cool, but it's. You're right though. How long until it becomes basically we're buying interactive movies?
It is. I think we'll always have this stuff to push back. Like, obviously, I'm still playing Golf Story, and the reason I'm playing Golf Story is that has funny story and has some great jokes. But I'm in it because golf is legit.
Yeah, that's just a fun game, man. I mean, come on.
both are always going to have their place. I've had fun in story and voiceover driven games more than some other like just action games, but then I've also had fun in these incredible action games as well. So I mean, it's a place for both. But I mean, you shouldn't just I guess look at people who enjoy the one.
I worry that the companies will go where the money is, and right now story-driven games are where the money is, and massive multiplayer is where the money is. So,
well, if all companies like that, we would only have cell phone games at this point. I mean, major companies exist today entirely off of their cell phone game budget because a 5-man team makes more than a 100-man team does at the end of the year.
I think he's also referring to like we're going to get a lot of things like Destiny, for example.
Yeah,
Destiny destroyed though.
Like Destiny, EA, with all these things that are selling and multiplayer, and I'm like, are people forgetting about why we play the games in the first place? It's because it's fun. Something that's fun.
Yeah, you're thinking more of like you can go from title screen to playing the game in like a few minutes rather than like an hour.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's actually I think that's actually a metric that we should start popping up in reviews soon. Is how long does it take you to press start to start the game when you hit new game to actually controlling your character and running around?
Yes.
That's a mechanic that I actually talk about that occasionally for certain games. Like Mario is very quick. God of War is very quick.
It's like you want to jump in a game and play it, and once you're invested in the game and having fun with it, then have the story given to you in pieces so that you want to learn more about it, as opposed to force feeding it down your face at the beginning and throughout.
Yeah, that's a good point, and that's kind of why I think that's why a lot of Naughty Dog's games work and why I love them, because they're so good at feeding you the story and the dialogue of the characters, but while you're playing the game.
It's quick, man. Uncharted 4, man, is super fast to get from like start of it, like when you hit start and you're actually playing as the character, very quick. It's like a few minutes.
And I also not for all the problems I have with the overall length of Uncharted 4, I think it's really cool the fact that there are very few cutscenes. Almost everything is like people having a casual conversation while climbing up a cliff and stuff. So you just kind of learn the story while playing instead of the game being like, all right, now sit down, get some popcorn. I'm going to explain to you my childhood.
So do you think the game is too long or too short, Max? I'm curious.
I think that game is too long. I think that game is about 2 full hours too long, personally.
Which game was that?
Uncharted 4.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I think it's one of these where it's great, but it's like, did you really need to get stuck on that many deserted islands?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I really like Doom, was because you're playing in like 30 seconds. It's so fast, and you don't level up at like to the degree where you need to like grind out levels or something. You literally have a shotgun. You just start mowing through people. Very quickly.
You could beat the whole game without even finding a single upgrade. I basically did. I found 2 upgrades my first playthrough. It was like, it doesn't matter.
All right, so Sean, what do you got for us, man?
So with the recent announcement, I don't even know if someone made that a topic. Oh, read Lycon's comment. He gave you $5.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I missed that. I wasn't paying attention.
It just popped up.
Oh, it did just pop up. Yeah, you're right. It did. Yeah, let's see. If you want awesome gameplay with a great story woven in, then look no further than Nier Automata. That game is actually very good. I actually think it should have won more awards. I think it won for soundtrack.
That is on my list. Like
Nier is
Horizon
heavily flying under the radar, but it is selling a decent amount every week in places like Japan. It seriously keeps showing up on the charts. So I think when it's all said and done, at the end, it's gonna be one of those games that kind of drip feed sales. But when it's all done, they're actually gonna see a pretty sizable number, and it probably will get a sequel of some kind. So,
well, it in and of itself is a sequel, right? That's something that I didn't know until I made a video, and people were like, "Hey, it's actually not a new IP there.
Well,
it's the same as that one from the PS3, which I didn't know they were the same."
Technically, it's the fifth. It's technically the fifth in the series,
the
isn't
fifth?
it?
Oh my god!
Because there's It's Drakengard 1, 2, and 3, and then the end of Drakengard, there's an apocalypse, and they go to the future, and then that's technically the beginning of Nier, and then we got Nier Automata.
That's actually pretty badass. I didn't know that was part of the Drakengard.
Yeah. It's one of those, you don't know until you start playing Nier, and then they're kind of just like, remember the Drakengard War? Like, oh, it's like Drakengard trademark. Like, oh, okay.
Wow.
Let's go back to Sean, because we kind of sidetracked there. What do you got for us, Sean?
As announced in the Nintendo press release, that the Switch was the fastest selling console in US history, which is pretty freaking crazy. They announced, or they mentioned, that both EA and Activision are some of their third-party partners for 2018, which is pretty interesting to me, because aside from FE, I don't know how they're pronouncing it.
I think it's Faye.
Which actually hasn't been confirmed yet, but is rumored to be confirmed on the Direct on the 11th. You don't really see much going on with that, but I actually have made a video a couple days prior to the email saying that I expected in 2018 predictions that I expected both EA to bring games like Madden and Activision to bring games like Call of Duty, because they are Western companies, and Western companies will put their games on a calculator if the calculator is selling well, because they only give a shit about. Yeah, that's true. I mean, they only give a shit about money, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think with that announcement that it's the fastest selling system, it pretty much just confirms you're going to see Madden this year. You're going to see Call of Duty this year. They're not that stupid.
That press release was purposeful in the first place. They keep in mind, they could have talked about Japan sales, where they're doing even better, because they according to a lot of sources, just outsold the Wii U lifetime. But instead they talk about the US sales. Sure, it's cool that they're like fast selling in 10 months, but I feel like they were doing that more so to get on the Western developers and say, look, it's selling. This isn't the Wii U. Come support us. Wishbone dropped 5 in, saying the only way for Microsoft to wow me for E3 2018 would have to be a Conker's Bad Fur Day 2 announcement with original cast directors. That is a dream. I would love to see that, but the odds of that happening are exceptionally low, because
a lot of people want that to happen.
Yes, that would be absolutely fantastic, but I don't think they're willing to do that, unfortunately. I guess Super Lucky's Tale is like Conker's before they turned it into an M-rated game.
That's Conker's Good for a Day.
Well, they used that reminds me, because they used to have a good version of Conker, like a family friendly version. But then they got made fun of at, I think it was like an E3 or maybe it was CES, and they completely changed it to basically give them the finger and be like, you know what? This is Conker.
Yeah, they also knew I guess the company was they were all getting laid off at some point, so they just didn't even care.
Who cares? Let's do this. And they turned out to be awesome.
Yeah, but even if Conker's 2 comes out, it's not going to have as much impact as Conker's 1, because if you're looking at all the games that were around Conker's, that game really stood out just because it was the first to just be like, screw censorship, and here you go, here's a game. But now
that's really true.
You've already played God of War. You've already seen just tits on screen. You're not going to get anything more impressive out of Conker's 2.
They already do Conker's Live and Reloaded. They did a sequel for it, and it didn't really sell that much. So,
Let me. All right. So we were just talking about. Sean thinks it's interesting for EA and Activision. They definitely named Activision, which was kind of interesting, and Bethesda. Now we know Bethesda has Wolfenstein coming out, but I mean, what games? Were you thinking more, Sean, along the lines of what games could be coming from these Western developers?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see the big casual games, and a lot of people in the comments are saying, oh, screw Madden, screw Call of Duty. It's not necessarily about you or us. It's like, I don't care about Call of Duty. I don't care about Madden. I'm an NBA fan, but having those games on the platform is important, because what that's going to do is you now have Call of Duty on the go. You now have Madden on the go. So, and it's not like, the Vita version was okay of Call of Duty, and I think they did a Madden on there, but still, this system's more powerful than the Vita.
I think they put Madden 13 on there. You're right.
I mean, you could see that with NBA 2K18, which is still a phenomenal looking game on the Nintendo Switch. So having a game like Call of Duty, having a game like Madden will bring about more people to the system, which will bring about more sales, which will bring about more games. So in the end, you know, even if you don't like those games, having those games on the platform is good because it'll get more people interested in the platform. And if you like playing games on your Nintendo Switch, it means that more third-party developers will put their games on the system. So I mean, it's a win-win for everyone. But yeah, you're gonna see the commonplace games. I mean, you can even look on the Wii. Like the Wii had Madden, the Wii had Call of Duty, the Wii had all those games. But the generational gap between the Wii and the PS3 and the 360 was like literally a full generation. It looked like PS2 versus PS3. Whereas at least with the Switch, I mean, a game like Doom, a game like Skyrim, a game like NBA 2K18, they still look good, you know. And sometimes when you compare them to their counterparts, especially NBA 2K18, which is still just switchcraft because it looks amazing how good it looks side by side with the PS4 version. Now the system can hang a little bit more, so it's not that big of a downgrade. So the portability aspect goes in, and then you have a really good version.
The thing I want to throw out for this, the reason I get excited about the idea of something like Call of Duty on Switch is because I still feel like Nintendo and a lot of developers aren't leaning in too hard on the online multiplayer side. I feel like a lot of that's still secondary. And so I like the idea of Activision and people like that jumping on board and yeah, let's get some really big AAA releases that are actually really heavy multiplayer focus. Let studios know, yeah, you can make a really multiplayer heavy game. Just because this is a portable system, you can put something like that and people will buy it. So I'm just hoping it'll encourage more crazy multiplayer stuff and bring over Phantasy Star, damn it.
Yeah, right. I need Phantasy Star. Jeff, what do you think, Jeff, about these developers? I also saw Take-Two on that list. Now they could be because they'll bring basketball back, but who knows what else they might have there? Rockstar, maybe.
GTA
I mean,
5.
as far as the that are going to be coming out, I mean, like RGT, they're not for you or me. They're for the vast people out there that don't sit and watch YouTube to learn about video games. There's the 99% of people out there that are just going to the store and buying a game. Those are the people that will pick up an EA game and be like, hey, Madden, it's on the Switch. This is what I'll get now. Like that I envision for getting those games. And I think the more games, the merrier. I know it's not going to be something I'll be picking up.
R Potter dropped some 5 in the chat. Actually, he does our timestamps. He's an awesome dude. Actually, came to the
with him.
Yeah, he came to the midnight release with me when the Xbox One X was coming out. I went there and bought that system. Let's see. Most importantly, if they are going to get these on if they're going to get these online, it means they've convinced publishers that they have the internet infrastructure set up. That was a weird issue when NBA came out, wasn't it, Sean? You couldn't invite your friends. And I remember NBA Playgrounds had the same issue too. They just patched it, but it took that long to get everything set up and working.
Yeah, 2K did it in like, I think 2 weeks though. They had where you could play with friends.
It was FIFA. FIFA was the one that was problem.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no friend. Yeah.
And FIFA, they never fixed it.
They
never fixed it. They were just like,
Can't play with friends.
there's other ways to play with your friends. At least 2K was like, oh, okay.
Just get on at 3 a.m. when nobody else in the entire world is awake and press random match, and you'll probably find them in 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, I'd like to
Just
think
go
that
outside and play real soccer.
I'd like to think that was a growing pain for the system in its first year, and I would hope that wouldn't continue into the second year. But maybe R. Potter's right about that they're working on the infrastructure in the background with this paid online system, and that they've started convincing these developers that, hey, we have online figured out, we have this storage issue figured out, even though it's technically bad for consumers because they're telling us to go buy SD cards instead of figuring out the whole cartridge situation. But at least they can do it. I
actually almost 100% agree with him. That was actually where I was going to go with this, is talking about some of these multiplayer heavy games like a Call of Duty and Madden. And, when we think of Activision, that also means Blizzard could come with it, which means maybe that Dream Overwatch port or something could end up happening. And so you get these online focused games, and we know Nintendo hasn't really finished telling us what's happening with their infrastructure. If it's a mess, then those guys don't want to bring those online focused games over. But if Nintendo's getting everything fixed, and just like Sean, like you said, now they've confirmed fastest selling console in US history, it could mean that A, those games are going to come, and B, maybe the online situation does look better. Yeah. So it could be good all around.
And the thing of it is, like, to me personally, and I'm an outsider with this, I hate voice chat. I hate voice chat.
Oh,
I
really?
hate
Interesting.
I hate
I
playing
don't use it.
Friday
I
the
love
13th.
voice chat.
I hate Friday the 13th and playing with all these little shithead kids who are just yelling in the mic and screaming like a bunch of idiots. When I play voice chat, I play with my friends and we either Skype or we use Discord or we use Facebook video because it's just easier because you don't have to worry about other things and all the shit. It's the only thing I do. I hate voice chat. I hate it. I hate it.
Would it be easier if you could make a room on the Switch and everyone just plugs in their microphones and talks to each other without having to boot up Skype or anything?
Yeah, I mean, that is true too, but
Like
I don't know.
I have one of those 3.5 millimeter headsets. I should 1,000,000%. It drives me insane that if I plug this into my Switch, nothing happens. I should be able to plug this into my Switch and talk to people. When I'm playing Doom, because I like to try and play Doom, and occasionally I'll run into people, and like later on they'll tweet me and be like, "Hey man, I played Doom with you. It was fun to like play with Dreamcast guy." And it's like, man, it'd be great if there was some sort of party system where I could actually talk to random fans and stuff, but it's just impossible. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe with the Switch operating.
But yeah, so Sean, I was with you, dude. Like, I totally am not into voice chat at all. But I also then agree with Max in the sense that it's pretty important and like people just want it so much. That's why I think it has to be something that Nintendo gets figured out. So there is that balance because I never use it. I'm a weirdo that uses my phone to just talk to my brother when I'm playing. Like when him and I game, it's like we just get on like actual telephone call on our cellular phone and do it that way. Like no hangouts or nothing. So, but people need it. People care about it. It's a huge sticking point for Nintendo's online situation. And the day that they could maybe announce, hey, you don't need the app. We got it figured out in the OS of the Switch. Everyone have fun. I mean, people will like shoot confetti into the sky and be so happy.
I mean, even if they just Nintendo the hell out of it and make it where somebody has to add you on their personal friends list for you to even hear their voice, like put up all your normal Nintendo barriers that we have to jump through before you can hear their voice. I would still, I mean, I will cry. I would kill a man tonight, literally. It just point at that person if I got voice chat in the morning.
Wishbone dropped 6, and this is actually a question about Mafia 4. Did anyone play Mafia 3?
Yeah,
No,
I hated it. I know people said they fixed it later, but wow, it was bad.
Wishbone was wondering about Mafia 4, where its location might be in Miami or California. And it's 1980 since it will be a 5 to 10 years gap from Vietnam storyline. What are you thinking? They're asking if we'll even see it at E3. I don't know if that's. I feel like it hasn't been long enough from.
What was the timeline for it?
Yeah, the first one was right after Vietnam. Like the first one's story was really interesting, but it was also it drove me crazy because it was one of those games that was about 10 hours long. The first 2 hours is really, really story focused, and it's really cool. This like black dude coming back from Vietnam and dealing with like all these crazy like riots and stuff. Super great. And then for 7 hours, there's like no story, and then the last hour has story again. It is so bad at that, and so it drives me crazy. So if this next game takes place 5 years after the end of that, after he's gotten all his revenge, I would be curious about that.
I actually bought that game on Black Friday for $10 on the Xbox One X, so I'll be checking that out at some point. You said it's only about 10 hours long?
Yes, yeah. It's got a ton of side quests. It's one of those annoying games where the first 2 hours are really like structured, and then it basically does the Far Cry thing of being like, okay, cool, just take over a bunch of watchtowers. You basically destroy like whorehouses and like rob money banks. You basically you're basically strangling this giant mob out of your town. And the way you do it is by knocking out all the different types of infrastructure that keep them alive and going. And then once you basically take out the infrastructure, you take out the main boss. So you do that for literally 7 hours and then basically fight the last boss.
Okay. Oh yeah, he called. Red Wembley's in the chat. Said, what up, Nintendo Direct or longer presentation? Oh, so this is something I saw people talking about as well, and he brings this up, where people are thinking that instead of a Nintendo Direct, it might be a full presentation. And I don't know where you guys stand on that. I'm still kind of in the mindset that it's just going to be a Nintendo Direct unless they have something new that they want to show us outside of games, right? I feel like it might just be a standard Direct that they have all pre-scripted and like set up like a video.
Yeah, I think like a bigger presentation almost sounds like wishful thinking. I don't know why it wouldn't be just a normal Nintendo Direct. What I do think would be cool, and I've kind of talked about this before too, like if Nintendo almost took January like every year to be like their time and their space, like Sony's been taking December for the last couple of years for their thing. And we all know of years past when there was Space World and Nintendo used to do something similar. I don't think they'll ever do anything that cool again, but what if they did do something that's more presentation focused and not direct focused for like an every January thing? So I think there could be something to that in the future, but if they were going to do like an actual, something that is so different from a Nintendo Direct that they would call it something else, I feel like they would let us know that weeks to maybe even months in advance.
That's the other thing. Yeah, we don't know yet. If it really is the 11th, we're going to find out either Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, so that to me tells me it would be a direct, but who knows?
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, people were saying it said, all right, so it said announced at the big Switch event on Amazon. And if I remember correctly, it was the same picture we had last year around the January presentation, and that was an actual event. I think they just reused the same image.
Yeah, because think about it, they'd have to have been sending out invites to press and stuff, and like, hey, you have to come.
We would know about it. We would know about it ahead of time. Yeah, remember they announced that one quite a bit in advance, if I remember correctly.
I mean, it was like within days after the October trailer. I think it's like, hey, we knew about here's the trailer, and then in January we'll have an event in Tokyo and tell you more about it or whatever.
Yeah, so. or at least 3 weeks at a time. Because remember, that's what they did when Sony was doing their reveal of the PlayStation 4 Pro. They sent out that big thing that said, Sony has something to show you. Fly to New York at such and such time.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see about that.
Break here.
Let's see.
Wave. Can you guys hear me, or am I breaking up while I'm talking to you?
You're breaking up occasionally. You kind of get like the robot voice.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to drop out and then jump right back in. Maybe that'll fix it.
Try to do that real quick.
Yeah, that's fine, man. That's fine. So we all kind of think it's going to be a direct, right? And that's not necessarily a bad thing because it could still be like a full half an hour of edited video, and that means. I mean, we see how it goes with some of these presentations where people are like lost on stage or things go wrong, and what should take 5 minutes turns into 15. You know, so
we try to not talk about the Skyward Sword incident. It's a very bad memory for most of us.
I mean, I actually kind of prefer the direct kind of the way they have that presented and set up because we get a lot of information very quick and then we're done, right? And it's pretty easy.
That's why 100% my prediction is going to be something as we get closer to the event. I think it, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but I think it's just going to be a 15-minute thing. And I think it's going to be like 8 minutes of it dedicated to something really big. And then a lot of tiny little like 45-second trailers. They're going to do that thing again of being like,
they did kind of go. Yeah, they did go quick fire in that last one where they confirmed Doom and Wolfenstein. And that was pretty sweet. I like the idea of that, but I feel like they run a risk of, and I guess they wouldn't run a risk because it's more just the internet and fans, myself and all of us included, have gotten so excited about the idea of this. And everyone's blown it up into a pretty big thing. So if they did the 15-minute thing, even if the content was pretty good, some people might get really upset. Like, oh, you only gave us 15 minutes, but I told myself it was something else in my head. So now I'm mad at Nintendo for it.
I set aside 3 days. I called it vacation for this press conference.
Yeah, so that would be interesting, but who knows?
What I'm going to do, just so we don't keep getting sidetracked, if you put anything with a message in the super chat, we will start reading them at 10:30 my time, 10:30 p.m. to kind of start to wind down the show. All right, so if you drop something in the super chat, just keep it. We kept getting derailed from what we're trying to talk about.
Yeah, we tangent.
I will read your name, the amount, and then of course your message. Not a problem. We'll start that at 9:30 p.m. from here on. So Corey, 10:30. Sorry, Corey, D, I see it. Yours will be the first one we read at 10:30 p.m. But we will go through all of that. Just keep us from getting sidetracked. So we have Sean's. Evan, what did you want to go over, man?
I mean, that was something that popped up in the Discord chat, which I looked into. It was kind of interesting. The developers of Redout got 34 big things. Apparently, Digital Foundry looked at their game on the Xbox One X to determine whether or not it's got the 4K quality that they were hoping for. And apparently, they found that it was 1080p. It had all these issues. And then recently, 34 Big Things founder actually kind of shot back at them on their main site, talking about how they didn't do their work. It was more of a response because Digital Foundry sounds like they sort of went the clickbait route of kind of almost egging on 34 Big Things by calling their developers and programmers lazy and stuff like that. It was a little ridiculous, and it's been blowing up on a lot of forums and stuff recently and Twitter. But the way 34 Big Things is looking into it, or looking at it rather, is they kind of know that companies or groups like Digital Foundry, they really sway sales. They're big, and for them to kind of not put in the effort to find out exactly what they understand the specs to be are for their game, and then come out with this very scathing information about it is a great way to destroy sales and a great way to like slander their team. So they didn't say anything about like legal action, but they said they were going to be looking into ways to, I guess.
I have the quote here on my screen. I can go through it very quickly. And this is, I believe, a quote from the Redout. Basically, they're calling out Digital Foundry.
If it's the quote you're looking at, it's Valerio Di Donato, which is their founder. Like he's their.
I see it start here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see it. CEO. It looks to be. It says digital. Let me know if this is right, Evan. Digital Foundry might have been a competent source of technical information in the past. It starts like that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But it might be currently going down to the clickbaiting path. They just published an opinionated video on our game, Redout, in which they talk about Xbox One X performances, frame rate, and resolution, mentioning over and over that Redout shows a 1080p rendering for the Xbox One X version. And pretty much bolded, they say this is a pure straight lie. Xbox One X got an enhancement update a couple of weeks ago, which brings 4K rendering with dynamic resolution scaling to everyone. More specifically, we managed to scale the resolution between 90 and 50% of native 4K, which means the resolution goes from the upper limit of 3456 by 1944, lower resolution 1080p. This is actually confirmed by VG Tech. And they go on basically to say that that they have pretty much been, in their words, I guess, misrepresented. And this could technically, I mean, Digital Foundry is big enough to where this could affect sales. And then they go on to say, but saying that Redout renders at 1080p is plain false. This combined with the fact that some players seem to be highly sensitive to the Xbox versus PS4 performances tug of war. Yeah, go figure that one.
Whoa, he called that out, man. Wow.
Yeah. Well, Phil Spencer calls it out. Everyone does because it's kind of dumb, to be honest. Caused a rain of negative comments on our heads, all based on wrong information. They have several pictures of tweets that say, you're terrible, disgraceful, get better at your job, all this stuff. We are currently looking to legal action to defend our
into various ways to defend, not necessarily legal action.
Yeah.
I want to be clear on that because it's not like because I saw somewhere on a forum post someone claimed that they were looking into legal action and then just trounced them for being a company that's more about like or let's hide behind law and stuff. But the reality is they're just looking into ways to defend their public image in some possible way to show us like that's not true.
I think that's tricky, man. Like I know almost nothing about this except for Evan, kind of just like the details and stuff you laid out here. But I have to feel if the 34 big things, I think, like if they're being truthful, then it sucks for them. Like because if they're posting all these pictures of people saying all these terrible things about them, it can be like really degrading to their image, and they're just a company trying to make games. But then at the same time, if Digital Foundry is being honest and the Redout company did actually make this mistake and lie about it, then it's like, well, do they deserve to get called out? So I just wish I knew more details, but it just sucks, man.
Yeah. I don't think the company that made Redout is gonna, be like, they're lying, we're not. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that was the case, I think they would just let sleeping dogs lie. I've always had my my thoughts on Digital Foundry. First off, I don't care. I don't understand why so many people give a shit. Like,
it's
because resolution,
it's part of the console war. Yeah, it's part of the console war. Really,
it's ridiculous. But I mean, at the same time, I mean, they've been proven to be wrong before. I'm pretty sure. And if that's their whole shtick, and they are a big website, they are a big publication, they are a big channel. They need to be doing their shit right. If you make a mistake, you need to man up to it.
They put an update on that post. Digital Foundry did. Update. Tip of the hat to VG Tech here for confirming dynamic resolution scaling with a different shot selection to ours. How the scaler works is something we'll take another look at, as even the simplest shots in our sample came in at a native 1080p. So it sounds like they are admitting that they were incorrect in their video and that they will be updating it in some way.
So take the video down then. Make an apology video. Don't be fucking just making a tweet. You're taking bread out of these dudes' mouths because you did something incorrectly. Like, man up to it and say, hey, we were wrong. Apologies for the video. We'll go back to it and look at it again. But they don't do that. They think that, and that's the thing. The controversy is what gets the views. The spat is what gets the views. And then when it's incorrect, it doesn't matter. Even if you do a follow-up apology video, I've seen it a million times, where, the big story, the initial story gets the big views and then the apology gets nothing, because at the end of the day, people don't care about that.
Well, not even that. My thing is, I'm really glad that this studio did call them out if it turns out they are at fault. I mean, imagine being a small team of like 15 or 20 people and spending hundreds of hours working on this game, each and every detail, spending time away from your family, maybe even missing freaking vacation to get this patch done to actually upscale it to 4K to try and keep Microsoft happy. And then all of a sudden a group of like 10 dudes comes along later and goes, nope, you're just liars. You're lazy liars. I would get on my fucking website too, but like, excuse me, capital dickhole. Let me tell you exactly how much you can go F yourself.
It's very interesting. I guess. See, the reason I like to watch some of the Digital Foundry stuff, I like to see some of the techniques and really some of the not so much sacrifices, but ways, I guess, that these companies are able to get developers are able to get some of these visuals down and make them work with a certain frame rate. And then it's good to see a game like, for example, Rhyme on the Switch that is, or if we want to talk about WWE2K18, something that's just bad.
Yeah, but I mean, in the same breath, you're also a tech guy. You know way more. You sit there and you open the systems, you know, chips and shit like that. Digital Foundry should be for you. You know, that's what you're interested in. But I would say 9 out of 10 people that watch it aren't like you. They're uneducated idiots like me. Or worse, which is even scary.
Their comments get really bad sometimes. Like it turns into a big flame war sometimes in their comments on their videos. It's
like I don't
really
know, man.
bad sometimes.
This is crazy to me.
What do you think? What do you think, Jeff?
I've never seen the draw to Digital Foundry. I'm with Sean on this one. I don't understand why people care so much about what if it's going to be 1080. It kind of goes back to, not to go back to what I just said earlier, but goes back to, are you having fun with the game or not? And does it look passable or not? Like these people that are like, oh, it has to be 4K or else I don't give a shit about it. Like these people, I don't understand what goes through their head when they go to purchase a game. It has to have these specs or else it's not going to be a good game for them. I will, for the life of me, never understand that.
I often wonder if like Digital Foundry reads their comments and it's just like, what have we done? like there's nothing we can do about this. No matter what they do, someone's always met, like groups of people are always fighting back and forth in their comments, no matter what their video is about. And it's insane. They get called liars in their comments a lot too. I noticed this. Remember one time they were talking about the Xbox One X that they went to Microsoft, like their studio, to see this, and people in the comments were like, "No, you didn't." And he comes back with like an actual chip. Like he had to come back with a chip. Be like, "I have the chip from the system. I went there." So I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to look at. Things like Xenoblade, I thought was interesting to see how that went.
That was probably that was my
pretty bad
favorite
resolution.
I really enjoyed that one. That was a good example of a Digital Foundry video that works for me, not because like it was a Nintendo game, but just because there was such a conversation about the resolution and what it looks like and how it changes and all the tricks they use, like you were saying, John. I actually found that Xenoblade one to be like one of the coolest videos. I really appreciate it.
They seem to identify like a memory leak and everything too. That I think Nintendo's actually working to patch, just in case anyone's curious. I think that's happening for some of the people I'm talking to. But it's interesting how that goes. But yeah, unfortunately, it generates a very toxic user base that comments a lot back and
console
forth.
war, man. It's a bunch of dirty mudslinging. It's great.
It gets bad sometimes. Yeah, unfortunately. So what do we got here? We talked about that. What do you have for us, Rob?
Yeah, so as the resident Metroid fanboy, I was pretty excited to bring this one up. This was a story that made the rounds yesterday. I'm sure most of us probably know this, but there was some weird random, because this stuff happens all the time for some reason, some random post that went up for one day or a page that went up on Nintendo's, I guess, official Norway page, or what the Nintendo Life article calls it. Yeah, the Nintendo Norway branch is what they call it, but it was some official thing, and I followed the links to get to that page, and it definitely seemed like it was absolutely official as far as something from Nintendo. And apparently they had a very small blurb that temporarily read a confirmation, what people are taking as confirmation, that Metroid Prime 4 and Bayonetta 3 would actually be 2018 games. And that's a huge conversation. I've talked about freaking Metroid on my channel and like what year it's going to come out 100 times, I think, in the past couple months. So everyone got excited because these are games that everyone's excited for. Metroid's going to be amazing. Bayonetta 3, holy crap. We didn't know it was coming. It's going to be great. And then it got taken down. And apparently there was also some claims that the actual post itself didn't come officially from Nintendo, but from some third-party distributor. But I don't know if that's actually been confirmed or not. But it was an update that I did see earlier this morning when I was looking a little bit more into it. But the post, I'll read what the post said. that was temporarily up on Nintendo's official Norway page. It said, the year 2017 has definitely been Nintendo's year, and we are looking forward to 2018, which will include new games like Bayonetta 3, Metroid Prime 4, and Kirby Star Allies, as well as many other games that we revealed during the year. So, I mean, that's the quote. That's what went up. In a world where that was actually from Nintendo, it actually, to me, sounds like it is confirming these games are coming this year. But again, it got pulled down. Some people said it was a third-party thing and not even from Nintendo. So I don't know what like the final newest info and details on. Maybe some of you guys know if there's been a newer update, but that's where it stands. And I mean, the only thing I'll say is I've been a staunch believer that Metroid would be a 2019 game. I don't really know what I think on Bayonetta yet, but I feel like Metroid for some reason feels to me like a 2019 game. So it's hard for me to believe this, but unless Nintendo confirms otherwise, like even next week at a Direct, it's kind of tough to say, but that's where it is now. So
I think, well, they said just Bayonetta, right? 2018. That's all they said, right? They didn't say like
no,
Bayonetta
it's
3?
It says, well, no, it says Bayonetta 3. It's it says we look forward to 2018, which will include new games like Bayonetta 3 and Metroid Prime 4. So it does list Bayonetta 3.
Okay. So
but we're in like leak territory. Everything's leaking and people are making fake stuff, so it's so hard to predict. Like,
yeah, I mean, I said I think Metroid or Pokemon. I think one of the two is coming in 2018. If they get both out, that would be ridiculous. It could happen. It could happen because it's two different studios and everything. It would be insane. But it's going to be interesting. I do think. See, I want to tell you Metroid's coming in 2018. I really do, but I don't know. I mean, could they do back-to-back months? Could they do October is Metroid, November's Pokemon? No. Right? No. Could they do that?
I think they'd space it out more than that. But personally, I feel like right now my most hyped Nintendo game by a country mile is definitely Metroid. Like everything else is interesting to me, but Metroid Prime 4 right now is such a mystery box. We have no idea what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. We all just want to see. I think we will see some kind of gameplay, by the way, at this Direct for Metroid. I also think we'll find out what Retro is working on, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, who is working on Metroid Prime, by the way?
Bandai
Retro
no confirm. Yeah, so they did. Jeff confirm Retro is not making it. The only other confirmation is that it's a new team. That was the closest quote we got from anyone at E3. That was actually an internal
studio. Yeah, that they've formed. But Bandai does help with a lot of projects for Nintendo, and apparently the rumor now is that Bandai is helping with Metroid. Like that, and what's interesting about that, when I heard that told me that maybe Metroid is does have a 2018 date, because usually when you pull in another studio to help, you're probably trying to farm some stuff out to get it done. So.
Yeah, it's kind of like what happened with Star Fox Zero, which I know the game didn't turn out all that great, but I mean, I feel like that's what happened with that game. Is Nintendo was like, well, we got to get this game out soon. The Wii U is going to have nothing to play in 2016. They pull in Platinum, which is really good PR because everyone loves Platinum, and they probably, like you said, John, farm out a lot of that to a really talented studio to try to just get that game as complete as possible to ship when it did. So,
but Bandai helped with Smash Bros. And
I think they oversaw that. Wasn't that like basically them and like, from the get-go, Bandai and Nintendo?
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo obviously did a lot of work with it, and I think they helped. I think Bandai helped them, but I think that part of that reason was because they needed that game out to try to do anything for the Wii U. The Wii U needed anything.
That made it great. That was 2014. That was the Wii U's strongest year. That was actually also one of Nintendo's best years. I mean, we're all hyped on 2017, which is the better year, but 2014 was actually really close. People kind of forget that.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know what you guys think about Bayonetta 3. Do we think that's going to come this year? Or?
I think it's fully possible, because I imagine that game is overall going to be on the smaller side. Like, those games are fun, but let's face it, it's basically a series of pretty hallways and cool combos. So making those games, once you build the engine, once you master the combat, it's just a matter of spending the 16 months actually building out the levels to have a good flow.
Yeah, pretty linear. So that might make it easier. You're right.
I mean, I don't think Metroid is coming out this year because they want to sell 20 million systems this year and in the fiscal year, and you're not going to sell that if Metroid's your big game. Sorry, but look at Metroid's look at Metroid sales. They always suck compared to other Nintendo games. It's not a system seller.
What would be then? Pikmin?
Pokemon.
It would be Pokemon. Yeah. Or, I mean, I've talked a lot about Animal Crossing. I think that could be kind of a dark horse, and I think that would be a pretty big, almost system seller quality game. So
Yeah,
That could be that's a game I think we might even see next week. If that's coming this year, I think that could be at the Direct if it exists.
Metroid is definitely a fan service game. I will say that it'll sell well in the US. It won't sell super well in Japan, as we've seen, but the 3DS one didn't sell terribly. So I think enough people are waiting for this game so much, like a return to Metroid Prime, that they are willing to buy it.
I think
because of that.
Yeah, I really think that Metroid Prime 4, more than any of the previous ones, and the first one's my favorite game of all time, but I definitely think that Metroid Prime 4 is primed for like the biggest success of any Metroid game because of the Switch hype, because of the return of Metroid. And we shouldn't even be getting a Prime 4. I thought Prime was done. I was like, we'll get Metroid, but it won't be a Prime. And I was wrong, because they're totally doing a Prime game. And everything sells on the Switch, especially Nintendo stuff, and it's going to showcase the power. It'll be the best looking game. I'm going to state it right now. When it comes out, it'll be the best looking game Nintendo's ever made. I fully believe that.
Look at that
on the Switch hardware. So
look at that cheap plug in the chat by Sean.
I mean, they keep saying it. RGT on point. RGT on point. Like, you motherfuckers better be subbed to me then.
I think that Metroid's going to get what I call the Hobbit effect, where the Lord of the Rings movies made a lot of money, but they didn't make an absolute crazy record amount in theaters. However, when Hobbit rolls around and everybody's been buying these movies on DVDs for 10 years, when you come out with Hobbit, even though they're dramatically worse movies, they're just getting crazy ticket sales. So it could be that type of thing of like, everybody knows what Metroid is now, and people are talking about Metroid, even if they've never watched a second of gameplay. Everybody's got a Switch, so I definitely believe that this is going to be probably a record-breaking sales Metroid game. So even if it doesn't sell new Switches necessarily, I definitely think it's going to be a big chart topper.
So I'm gonna give you guys what I think is going to happen, okay? And people are going to probably lose it a little bit here. Here's what's going to happen. The Bayonetta 3 is coming out in 2018. It absolutely is. And here's why. I think the Bayonetta collection would not be coming out so early in the year if it wasn't. That would have been pushed to like summer or maybe even fall if needed. But it's coming out so early in the year. It was so weird when I saw that, because you figure if maybe they're making room for the next Bayonetta 3 sometime in the fall, and then they say 20 million fiscal this fiscal year. And I think that tells me that Pokemon and Metroid are probably making it out this year. Oof. And
all of those games?
You're gonna see. I think you're gonna see everything, and then I think this sounds a little crazy. I think you're gonna see something from the 101 universe as well. Wonderful 101.
Oh, dude! I want that so bad.
I think you're gonna see it
so badly.
I know people are gonna think of like I don't have any inside source or anything. I think this is what's gonna happen though.
That's pretty crazy, because here's the thing. Like, if they do that, as great as that would be, don't get me wrong, bring it on. Like, I want that to be true, but then what would they have for 2019? Like,
that's when the third party shows up. That's when the third party shows up.
True,
a lot of them got caught off guard. Not a lot of them I don't think are going to be in 2018 really, like to the degree that they need them. And like even Japanese developers themselves already said we're not going to get there in time. It'll probably be 2019 is when stuff actually comes out. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think Nintendo knows they have to prop up 2018 again. And I think those are coming, and I think they're using Bandai Namco for Metroid to farm stuff out. I don't think they're like a lead developer, but I think they're doing things like, hey, this is our level design. We need it completely done, programmed and everything. They're sending graphs and stuff and charts and stuff over to them. And I think Pokemon is also seeing some help in development. I'll say that.
Yeah, but that game, I think both games, again, I'm not even saying you're wrong. It's all possible. Like, no one even.
Oh, no, yeah, it's all possible. Yeah.
I'm just trying to protect my emotions here, because I want Metroid as soon as I can get it. And I just feel like both of those games probably have so much going into making it, even Pokemon more probably than Metroid, because it's an RPG, and it's probably going to be an even bigger world, I would think, than Metroid. So that's going to be hard.
Here's the other thing you're going to see. Retro Studios game will be out next year, by the way. I think that's going to happen.
I think they're going
to introduce it to us at this Direct. It's going to be a new IP, I think. I don't think it's going to be a Donkey Kong game.
I agree with that, too, yeah.
And then I think they're going to set it up to be Retro's year for 2019. So that they have, like, the E3 thing will be probably whatever Retro's game is.
So you think they would reveal Retro's game this year, but their game would be a 2019 release?
I think it'll be a 2019 release, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think we're going to see it this year. So I for sure agree with that. And then
Yeah.
Who knows what
It's
it's
gonna
and
be
I think
fun,
it's
man.
a new IP. Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. That's all I know. I know people are gonna be like, really? I don't think Smash Bros is around this year coming up. I think they're making a new Smash Brothers, and I don't think they just care to push it out. I think that's 2019 as well.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I disagree with that. I think they're just gonna make a simple what they did with Mario Kart, Smash Brothers.
Okay, yeah.
I think
They could do it. They could do that too. That's absolutely possible.
It's interesting to think that 5 weeks ago, I feel like we didn't quite know what they were going to fill up this calendar year with. And now we're kind of just trying to figure out what of these games are going to land in 2019 because so much has been teased or leaked. So I don't know. I think it's very possible we could get Metroid and Pokemon and Bayonetta this year. But yeah, I guess I'm on the ship now of 2019, even though we just are 6 days into 2018. I'm curious if we're going to get something super giant in 2019, like a Smash.
Let me ask
you also got Yoshi and Kirby this year too.
that's going to be out. That's going to be out this year. Those will be summer games, I think.
Yeah, I think
those
those
will
are
be
first
summer games.
half of the year. Probably.
I think one of those is going to be spring.
Well, Yoshi has done an Unreal, and that's probably to get it out the door quickly. So
Yeah,
that
2D.
will be it is 2D. Yeah, who you call it? Let that slip. That it's Epic. Let that slip. This Unreal Engine 4, and I think that's on purpose. So that's going to be probably. I think you're right, Sean. You said summer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I
one of them is going to be spring.
April.
Well, no, there was some tease at one point that it was going to be around Valentine's Day. Someone was saying mid-February was what somebody was teasing for Yoshi.
See, that's tricky though, because that is, like you said, John, that's when the Bayonetta collection comes out. There's another, I think, pretty high-profile Switch game I'm totally brain farting that I think is also coming out, or maybe like a third-party game.
There's
One or two
Payday,
games.
Dragon Quest Builders are in February.
Payday is one of them.
Oh, R. Potter just dropped the game that I think would help sell the Switch heavily in 2019. It sounds crazy if
Devil's
if they,
Third 2.
if they can't get Pokemon out, if they just cannot get Pokemon out this year, because I think that's the biggest seller they have right now. Mario Maker,
Yeah.
dude, bring that over, man.
I think Mario Maker's, I think that has a shot.
Yeah, bring that over. That's an easy one to bring over. So I just think that's what we're gonna see at this direct. Really, is a lot of games that we didn't think would come out this year. 'Cause think about it this way: a year ago would have been January. Would any of us have thought that both Zelda and Mario would have been out within 8 months of each other?
No way.
Yeah, it's like I mean, what we saw Mario, and then it was out 9 months later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good point because Nintendo is like
later.
so on their A game right now. Like, I don't think we've ever seen them so on their A game. So really, anything is possible, even like Metroid or Pokemon.
Well, I think Sean's in the same boat as me too. That GTA 5 will also be out in 2018.
Oh, GTA 5 is getting announced at the Direct.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be announced at the Direct. Yeah.
Well, so what I'm kind of thinking is because 2016 we had the really big E3 was completely dedicated to Breath of the Wild. 2017 E3 was completely dedicated Nintendo, of course. It was completely dedicated to Mario. So I'm thinking it's very possible that this year Nintendo, their big push is going to be completely Metroid, and so they just turn their whole corner of the exhibit into an alien planet and stuff.
If they do that, I can't even. What would be great about that is it shows that they want to put Metroid at the forefront of their marketing and their business model, because that's how Nintendo can make anything a hit. Like, think about the first Splatoon. Like, that game could have really just come out and been average and sold averagely and been nothing. But the first game on the Wii U of all systems was a phenomenon because Nintendo really pushed it and marketed it so perfectly. And then, of course, they created a great sequel and it went on from there. So I feel like if they did what they've done for Splatoon and Mario and Zelda and do that for Metroid instead of Pokemon, because to me it's like, well, they could also do the same thing for Pokemon based on what year things are happening. So I would love to see them do that, because that even further would probably confirm like what we think, that this could be the biggest and best-selling Metroid game that they've ever made if that happens. So
let's can we move on real quick? Jeff, did you have any topics or anything you wanted to go over real quick?
One of my most recent revelations is based off of what Nintendo was saying in their conference about wanting to sell 20 million Switches this year. Tracking on how they could possibly do that. I mean, obviously, one would be if all these killer apps come out, like, you know, all these games like Pokemon and they all hit their stride and everything lines up and all the stars align. The other direction I was going with that was I think they might be releasing a new console this year. And what I mean is the Switch Mini. to
Okay.
replace the 3DS. So it's going to be
coming at a cheaper price point.
much cheaper, like $199 price point to get the 3DS crowd off the 3DS and to move that whole market and finally say their goodbyes to the 3DS and finally officially say, this is our console. And for the people that just want portable, we still have that portable edition or the Switch Mini or whatever. And for everyone who wants the console, they got the Switch. And I feel like that's going to come probably September this year to hear that announced. If it's going to be
with the Switch Mini, would it work with the dock still?
I thought a lot about that, and from a marketing perspective and from a sales perspective, I almost think they wouldn't want that, so that they could make it exclusive to it, so it would give people a reason to still want to get the original Switch, but it would have limited features and be far less of a price point to sell it. And I think it would sell like hotcakes.
And I think they have a thing. Personally, I think they'll have a thing where you can take your memory stick out and transfer it. So if you're somebody who is a multi-Switch owner, then there is an advantage to having a portable, a Switch Mini that you put in your backpack or even maybe in your pocket.
Exactly.
Okay. See, I understand what you're saying there. I'm also curious about if it would be confusing to the consumer to have it so soon. And would they still be able to call it the Switch? Because that would technically, I guess, kind of defeat the purpose of it. They'd have to kind of call it something else. Then
it's called the off, because you just always have it off.
Or it'd be like the Nintendo Portable S.
Because I was on the other side of, it'd be really cool, and this is just me being, me. What'd be cool is if they announced a box like how the Vita TV was, except not terrible, obviously. But if they had a box that was like, hey, you can play your games at straight, like everyone's complaining about resolution and frame rate and stuff. Listen, it plays the same games and everything. You put your cartridge in, it's just a little more powerful. It's plugged into the wall at all times, and you get a solid 1080p all the time, and it's like 30 to 60 frames or whatever, but it still uses the same cartridges. So
maybe that could come out alongside with it and make it even more confusing.
I know. It's just like the thing is, it's already a confusing concept to explain to people as it is, because people fight over it's a handheld, it's a home console, it's a hybrid. It's so weird as it is.
So on this is a short aside, on Christmas, I actually took my Switch to see my family, and they'd never seen one, and they thought it was really, really interesting. But my father was very, very confused by the name specifically. He did not understand. I had to explain to him, like, well, it's literally called that because its core functionality is that it is supposed to be both a Super Game Boy and also something you play on your TV, like a Super Nintendo. And I tried to demonstrate that to my dad, and he's like, I get it, but that still seems weird. And I was like, and also you switch the controllers around. Each part of it's about switching. My dad was like, I don't know. I think I would have just called it a portable TV Nintendo. I was like,
I will say, Jeff, I think, Jeff, you're onto something with a cheaper price point. Maybe they could sell it like without the dock and some other stuff. I don't know. I'm trying to think of how
that's one of the more. I think that's one of the more likely options. And I will say, like, the whole concept of some sort of new, different, upgraded Switch, whether it's just like it's smaller or it's more powerful or whatever, like we've all talked about that. I think that there is something to that, and that something like that may eventually come down the road.
They would have to eliminate those the Joy-Cons is like the most expensive part of the system. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's
okay.
Yeah.
They would have to. Go ahead, Jeff.
I was just saying it would have to all be in one thing, like all self-contained, like what a 3DS is, except it's a Switch.
Right. They would have to eliminate those Joy-Cons because, like, not to the degree of get rid of everything, but they wouldn't be able to slide onto the system. They would pretty much be merged to the system.
See, and that's
you'd still be able to connect Joy-Cons to it if you wanted to, but
like wireless connection, maybe. Yeah, is that what you mean?
Right.
They do.
Right.
Yeah. Because if you just imagine if you buy that and there's no Joy-Cons with it, and Joy-Cons are $80, right? So that's kind of an expensive extra purchase, and it comes with all the buttons and the analog sticks you need. But that means there's a lot of Switch games. Well, a lot. There's some Switch games or some functionality in Switch games you couldn't even take advantage of. Like you could never play 1-2 Switch, for example.
Right, but I mean,
what a shame.
Do you play? I was gonna say, do you play 1-2 Switch in mobile form? Like, I mean, maybe you do, but the vast majority of people, and like Spawn was saying, this is going to get extremely confusing for consumers. It's the Wii U all over again. Like once this happens, it's gonna be a marketing nightmare once they try to figure that out.
And that's why, like, I don't even think the idea is crazy. I think it just is a difficult thing for Nintendo to figure out how to make it and then how to sell it for like the reasons you guys are saying. Like, it's confusing to people. And
well,
so,
it's confusing, but it could also have. So there was this old advertising document that somebody leaked years and years ago about the Xbox 360, and it was this like big marketing executive saying that one of the reasons they kept releasing updates to the Xbox 360 and all these different types of Kinect was because they were literally just trying to fill up as much of the store shelf. They said, like, literally, we're trying to make it where when you walk into GameStop, as much of the back wall as possible is literally just Xbox 360 console. So no matter where they point, so it could be that they're just trying to hit that point of being like, well, we want to scattershot you with Nintendo.
Yeah, why do you think you see so many
merchandising?
Why do you think you see so many different colors of controllers out there?
Exactly. Yeah. It's just they're literally trying to fill up shelves with every kind of Switch you can imagine.
It works too. Actually, it does. I've seen it firsthand. Trust me, it works. We're thinking. I think we all want to see another piece of heart. I don't think any of us want to see Nintendo go down to a one system company, right? I don't know. Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
merge them together, man. Put all your resources together. I'm tired of this nonsense.
That's why I think the portable mini Switch would be perfect, because they can still put the resources in the regular games and people can use them on the go and get them for cheaper. It's perfect for both of their areas.
Only if it's next year. 2018 is way too soon for a console.
So 1,000,000%, I believe a Switch Mini exists. I 100% think they have a prototype. I've been saying this since like a couple months ago. I don't think it's going to come out till 2019 or 2020. It just seems like this thing is like the Switch is running out the door. At this point, you do not want to double up on your commercial space.
Sure.
Yeah, that's true. And you don't want to, at this point, when you're not struggling to sell the $300 device, why do you want to come out with a cheaper one and give people a reason to maybe spend a little bit less? Like when the Switch starts to dip a little bit, maybe you want that competition out there. But
I think the reason you would do that is if it's the same system but with missing parts, like I said, like a dock, because then they can sell you the dock later. For more money. They can sell you the power cord, again, if you need it. They can say another dock. It's all like accessory stuff. I don't really know what else they would do other than just take the dock out.
Well, I also definitely think if you build the Joy-Cons into it, that's so many less parts you have to worry about. So you're literally removing vibration. You're literally removing the motion controls to a large extent. Like it would have I imagine
it becomes a less good system.
I think that they're going to skim down on some of those type of features, though.
Yeah.
That way they can sell you pro controllers, and I think that's where they're going to try and even set them up on shelves next to each other, being like, "Don't forget, the pro controller actually works on your Switch Mini."
Yeah. I mean, they would actually be able to, if they did that, believe it or not, they would actually probably be able to fit a bigger battery in there and remove both Joy-Con batteries completely.
Yeah.
And maybe finally have a Pro Controller 2.0 that has a audio jack.
Yes, give me that, please. I want that so badly.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. Yeah, right. I mean, or just incorporate Bluetooth. I have Bluetooth headsets and make it so like the AirPods work in it or something.
Yeah.
Right.
It would be nice to be able to plug in like a $15 headset to the controller. That'd be awesome. So we have a couple minutes before I'm going to read Super Chat. I do want to talk about one thing though. And that's the very quickly, because people are gonna ask when I read it. I will read it as soon as we're done talking about this next thing. It might go a little longer. It's the Switch 5.0.0 leaked firmware video that fell under heavy scrutiny, and I personally think it's fake. I don't think it's real. I think there's just too much too soon in there. But I'm curious to see what a lot of you guys think about this. Did everyone see the video?
No, I saw screen grabs. Fake, super fake, super fake.
Okay, it's worth watching, Max.
It is, yeah.
It's taken down now, but people kept re-uploading it, and everyone downloaded it. So it's I have a copy of it. So listen, it's interesting to look at. Now, if you didn't see it, Max, it's very, very convincing. Like whoever did this did a lot of work. I'll keep saying as long as it's fake, because it's no confirmation is anywhere. Listen, when we get to the direct and they don't show any of this, then it's definitely fake, obviously. But if a lot of you guys saw this, what do you guys think about this 5.0 video, this firmware?
Kim, before we go on to that, how many subscribers and what was the situation with this guy's channel? Because from what I saw, he barely had any subscribers and barely had any views.
He opened it the day he posted it. Like he literally made the account January 5th.
That's I mean that's somebody that's not making something fake to grow and make money or trick people. Like, I don't understand why that would be all that work put into something for no reason.
Well, so
that's where I stand on that.
To troll. People did it.
Troll, yeah.
Did you remember the whole
There's a lot of work to troll. A lot.
People have put in way more work to troll on
Well, not only that, people are making other mock-ups. Somebody made a great mock-up today, and it said, like, look how hard it is to make a fake firmware video. Look, it's firmware 6.0. And it looked like a Donald Trump game. They were like putting like hat up on there. It's like, look, it's literally that easy.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point to a degree because they're basically being like the masked vigilante, showing like no one knows who it is. But you might be right; they might have just done this just to watch the internet burn and try to figure it out.
I mean, so many people did it. The Stewie Griffin controller. Think of how many leaks there were when that was still a thing. Like there were so many, and it was all made by just nobodies. Just a random YouTube account. So,
dude, I saw somebody on Twitter. Somebody on Twitter put out a great tweet. They said, "Can you believe that we're arguing over a fake video that's just showing basic features on most consoles?"
Yeah.
I saw it. And I was like,
internet browser. Oh.
I thought that was really funny. I will say, man, it looked good. I will say that.
It looks and that's the thing, Max, because you didn't see it like you said.
I only saw I saw a lot of screen grabs, so I know the big thing about it, and I saw it, and 100% the reason I don't believe it at all personally is the internet browser. That is 100% the thing that breaks my disbelief.
Yeah. But it's Max.
They've had the internet browser before. What breaks your belief with it now?
It's widely known at this point, especially with the Wii U, that is like the easiest entry point for people to hack.
Exactly. Yep. 100%. And so many people have already been talking in the hacking community about the fact that if they make a web browser, they're immediately going to break in through that. So, I mean, it's literally like a burglar outside your door being like, hey, man, if you drop your keys, I am going to come in there and punch your daughter.
Did you guys see Pluto's reaction to the this was before we all knew it was fake, or at least believed it to be fake when we started breaking it down and everything. Did you guys see Pluto? He's one of the data miners just trying to hack and modify the Switch. The first thing he noticed was, oh boy, an internet browser, like right away.
Yeah.
That was one of his tweets. So I thought that was really funny. A lot of us download the video, I think. I have the video, Max, if you're curious about how convincing it was. It was very convincing. It's all
about the sound effects, man. Like that, whoever put it together, again, if it's as fake as a lot of people think, they did such a good job with the freaking sound effects, man. That really sells it to you when you watch it. I was like, damn, like this is crazy good.
Sound effects are just a matter of time. Like it's just all about.
Oh no, but like him actually like jumping around the menu and stuff.
And like
clicking perfectly.
Like those sounds.
Yeah,
oh my God.
He even did a part where he unplugs the microphone. I think he had it scripted because when he unplugs it, it pops up on the screen that's like microphone unplugged.
Yeah, so here's my question, and some of you guys, John especially, you might be able to answer this the easiest, but. If we go on the assumption it's fake, and then we start to find out, okay, well, how did someone make it so convincing? What's the possibility of someone hacking the Switch as it is to make all the just fake menus so it's actually running on a Switch?
I thought about that too.
I mean, is that possible? Does that sound
it's very possible that could be a thing.
That's probably how we would have done it if it's fake.
Well, the homebrew launcher is coming out soon anyway, but they can technically already hack the Switch and do what they want to it.
Well, my thing is, I watch a lot of like video editing and special effects stuff. Stuff that is so incredibly easy. Like one of the things people don't edit, one trick called tracking, where you can literally put like little X's on a surface and literally paste a face image of it over the top of it with your editing program. And as you move and twist it, it'll still look exactly the way it's supposed to. So a lot of times when I see screenshots like that, no matter how perfect they look, to me, I immediately think like, how hard would that be to put a tracking image on?
Yeah.
So
I mean, go ahead.
Oh, we're all pretty. I mean, you can have an opinion either way. Do you guys think it is fake, or are we just going to go around here? Because if you don't think it's fake, or you're still undecided, you can just say I'm undecided.
I think it's real, but I feel like I'm the only one here that feels it's real.
No, it's fair.
I mean, I'll say I'm just undecided. Like I want to just trust all of you guys who can state more easily. You know the stuff to say it's probably fake for this reason, but it sure looks real. So I'm just going to stick for undecided for now.
Okay. What do you? Sean, I think I already know the answer, but go for it.
Bigger than some porno stars titties.
Yeah, you sent me that in Twitter, and I'm like, that's gonna come up on the SpawnCast somehow. What do you think, Max?
Probably fake, and I would say that it's definitely just made by somebody like a college student bored on vacation.
I'm gonna say it's fake, but man, do I want it to be real. I'm just gonna say that because there was a point in the video where it basically says, "Do you not want to use your phone for anything? Great, here you go." And I was yes.
That's the thing that my brother pointed out when I sent it to him. He was like, "Dude, it's so amazing, but the problem is it's literally everything we've all wanted in one video. In like a minute and 10 seconds, every wish list is answered." Like that is kind of too good to be true.
Well, and so fake videos, typically shorter videos, I usually think are fake because making like a full 10-minute tutorial of this is how it all works and this is this thing and oops, this is me messing up this part, that makes it more believable. But when it's like a 72-second video, a lot of times I'm like,
yeah, I think we all wanted it to be real, but I'll tell you what,
it looks so real, man. I think about when he switches the Zelda theme at the end. I'm just like, oh my god, dude, that's so amazing. Please, be real.
I know.
Oh, man.
I mean, they had it where he was going and making rooms for games and people can jump. Oh, it was so cool, man. I really want it to be real, but like I said, I'll wait until the direct. That seems like a lot to talk about in the direct, also. So I don't know about that one, but let's go through. I guess some of these super chats here very quickly. We have Corey D saying, do you guys care about trophies / achievements and purchases that are tied to your account? Hopefully forever. Maybe don't, but I'd love it. Okay, it's talking about, I guess, for the Switch in this case, since it doesn't have trophies or achievements at this point that are tied to your account. I believe purchases are now. I think they've gotten to that point. I haven't tested that theory yet, but I think purchases are tied to an account. Oh, okay, yeah.
It's quite a problem with DRM. I have 2 Switches and it's a mess. You can't like I have get this with the Zelda. I have the DLC for Zelda. Downloaded it on one Switch, played it. When I take the cart out, it's registered that I have the DLC on it. So I want to put it in the other system. It tells you, you need to update this? Would you like to update, yes or no? And if you click yes, it tries to download the DLC and then won't let you play the game. It'll say it's registered to another Switch.
Oh man, that's weird. Yeah, that's something I'd like to see.
So you have to play. You have to play it without updating it to be able to play Zelda in another Switch.
Oh, that's weird. I know they did that with kind of the SD cards too. Like it's impossible at this point to get your saved game off of one Switch, which is not good still. I mean, we're coming up on almost a year of the system being out. I'd like to be able to back up my saves. But what about achievements, trophies? Where do you guys on that? Because that's kind of a weird situation. People don't care. People like it. Some people are like, I don't care. What do you guys think on this one with achievements?
I'm a big fan of them. I feel like they push me to play a game longer sometimes. If I've beaten a main story and I've beaten like half the side quests, then I open up the achievements and trophies and just see what extra weird challenges the developers came up with. It's like if I'm playing Witcher and I'm having fun with it and I discover that there's like an achievement for kill 15 sea zombies, but with the specific type of spell, then it's like, okay, I don't actually use that spell very much. Let's go find some sea zombies and do that. So I like it, not for the points, not for the bragging rights, but just an extra way to entertain myself.
Sure. Okay, yeah. So you kind of like that because it gives you that like carrot on a stick kind of thing.
Yeah. So like, I really, really want that to come to Switch because I don't care about gamer score or getting platinum trophies. I just want it there to have an extra thing of like, I'd be curious in Zelda what the developers would come up with as that list of achievements, because I think they'd be more creative than get every Korok seed. I think they'd probably have something like ski down the highest mountain without breaking a shield or something. Like, oh, what does that mean? Do I have to jump and glide through part of it? You know, that would be really cool.
Okay. What do you think, Sean, about that?
I care less.
You don't care about achievements?
I don't do none of them. I don't care about them. Never liked them. Means nothing to me, so I'm not a good person to ask.
Just pass. You just said pass.
I just play the game, pass. Man. I play the game. I make up my own achievements.
What about you, Rob?
I'm actually kind of similar to Sean. Like I really don't care for them, and I never have cared for them. But it's kind of the same with the voice chat. The same argument exists that people just want them so much. Like it would be really good if Nintendo had them. If Nintendo announced them, it would like a lot of my friends, my brother, who I referenced a couple times too, who's a huge gamer, like they live and die by achievements. So I don't have the time to try to hunt for things in games. Like once I finish playing it or I beat the game, it's like I just have to move on to the next game because I don't have time to just kind of to do that. So, but sure. I mean, I hope they bring them because it would be good for Nintendo to say, hey, they exist now. So
Yeah. I mean, I mean, Evan, you do a lot of Steam achievements, right?
I don't really care about them. The only time I've ever enjoyed achievements was how they were implemented in DCUO because they actually made your character stronger by doing them. That was like the only time they mattered to me, and it's the only time I really cared.
I like that. You could build up your character just by doing things like sightseeing or defeating this many enemies or things like that. It was cool.
Too, like amount of time it takes to beat something or way in which you can beat something. That was really fun because it just made you stronger in the game.
Yeah. What about you, Jeff, with achievements?
You know, it's funny. I used to be like RGT and Sean. I used to be like you, where I didn't give a crap about them, and now I'm like Max, where I'm like, if it's a game that I absolutely fall in love with, and everything that I possibly can do with it, a reason to keep playing it, to do more things that aren't even part of what the developers created in the game. It's like extra stuff. So it's like free DLC for your mind.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's there's I don't see any problem in actually having achievements. It's just more stuff anyway. So you can either take them or leave them, but it's good to have that extra bit of content, that extra stuff to kind of work for. So I don't have any problem with that. And I guess it's kind of cool to a degree if it all adds up into one score, like your gamer score, your trophy count or something like that. But I would like to see Nintendo kind of implement it into like a reward system. I think that would be really neat because they have their online reward stuff where if you buy games,
What a joke.
you get the rewards aren't the best. I will say that. I mean, they can't really give a ton of stuff away, obviously, because they're trying to make money. But
why not?
I would like to see them do some like in-game badges or something you can use for your profile on the Switch or something, right?
Little icons you can put next to your name when you're talking to everyone in the voice
swag
chat
or something, man.
Yeah.
Like, you get to a certain point, you get this cool little gold thing you can put next to your name or something. I don't know. There's a lot of fun stuff they could do. Things that don't actually give you any inherent value, but it's just fun to work towards. I mean, people spend how much money on cosmetics in games like Overwatch? Like, we're just talking about free stuff for achievements that you get and then put next to your name, So
I do want to I do want to highlight a comment though that somebody left that really kind of feeds into my feeling on achievements. It's by somebody called the Bad Elf. They say starts new game, achievement unlocked. So that's
it happened in Skate today. Yesterday I was playing Skate 3 again for the longest time. Skate 4, by the way. Let's make that happen. I was playing Skate 3. Dude, I turned it on my Xbox One after it updated and downloaded. And I got an achievement. I was like, did it just give me an achievement for updating my system?
That's some meta shit, man. If that's what happened, that's crazy.
So Simpsons actually did that as a joke. The Simpsons game on Xbox 360.
I remember that.
When you press on the start screen, it says press start. You press start. It gives you an achievement called the easiest achievement ever, and it's worth 0 gamer score.
Oh, that's cool. It's worth 0 gamer score. It's like that's kind of when like the illusion of achievements was shattered for me like years ago, like 360 days when I was like, wait a minute, the achievements aren't for like the cool, like Max, you talk about the weird way to surf down a mountain. It's like, oh, shot guy with gun meant for shooting. That's an achievement. Walked through door meant for opening. And I'm like, well, those aren't achievements. That's just playing the game.
Well, yeah. Skyrim.
So that's where I'm mixed on them.
Skyrim, in my opinion, has some of the laziest achievements ever, because literally the achievements in Skyrim are become the master of the Thieves Guild, become master of the Mages Guild, become master of the Fighters. It's literally like nobody thought of. So it's just like, I don't know. We're literally required to come up with 10. Just say the
press
10
the A button, press the B button.
Yeah.
So
Finish making character.
The next one. Next one is $5. Some Cybertronic Danny says, thank your beautiful faces for being a part of my Saturday nights. I look forward to this on the weekends if I'm not working. Cybertronic Danny, thank you for the kind words there. Let's go up to Will McConnell, dropped $10 in saying, I think this will be the year of the AA. Okay, so AA Nintendo games. Would not be surprised to see a remaster of Golden Sun, New Pilot Wings, even something strange like Trauma Center. Trauma Center is an interesting one. Pokemon.
Center.
They're saying Pokemon November 2018. I tend to agree with you on that one. But Trauma Center is one that I think a lot of people forgot about and would actually work pretty well, I think, on the Switch. It has an IR pointer and it also has a touchscreen.
Yeah, possibly. It should be good. I don't know if they make it like
scalpels, like make the incision.
But don't play with my heart with Golden Sun on that one, man.
Yeah.
Come on. I need that game.
Even Dark Dawn, I would seriously pay good money just to get Dark Dawn brought over.
Man, Golden Sun would be awesome on the Switch. Man.
Yeah.
I mean, that series just needs a revival, period.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I guess in the list of possible coming games, we can take one from, I guess, some chat and even the Discord. What do you think this year, Mario Party or WarioWare?
Ooh.
Wario.
I want to say WarioWare. Yeah, WarioWare makes sense. They just did a Mario Party game.
Mario Party sucks nowadays. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it really
they
does.
just said in
The
their
last
recent
two are bad.
conference- They just said in their recent conference that they want to use the Switch in new and innovative ways with the controllers. And I'm like, well, they really don't have any games doing that. And Trauma Center, WarioWare, I mean, they need more games like that.
Yeah.
That would actually make cons and doing things with. I mean, there's a infrared camera on one of them. They haven't done anything with that yet.
Yeah, we need more games using that. I mean, really, either of those, a WarioWare or a Mario Party, would if they made a good Mario Party, would take advantage of all that stuff for sure. And the difference is like Mario Party is going to sell more. I think we all probably agree that WarioWare would be the better game, but I think Mario Party is going to sell more. So it kind of just depends on what they want to do there.
Let's jump up to our Potter. This was from earlier. I saw this and it caught my eye right away, so I had to see something. But Mario Maker this year or 2019?
I think this year.
I think this year too. Yeah.
Well, because there were leaks years ago that they were using Mario Maker, and I keep talking about this, but there were leaks a long time ago that they were using Mario Maker to originally test the touch screen of the Switch. Like that was one of the first games they were experimenting with ports with. Were being like, okay,
I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
Yes, and so it's so weird to think that like that game's probably been done forever, but you know.
See, but that's such a tricky thing, man. And I want that game to happen, but if they're going to bring the Mario Maker that exists currently, the whole kind of system is a little bit jacked because the Wii U version relies on the 2-screen experience, and we wouldn't get that on the Switch. You would be in front of your game the entire time with your hand. So I feel like they'd almost have to make a whole new Mario Maker game around the Switch hardware.
I think it would work better
guess.
because when you're creating the levels, all you're doing is looking at the Wii U gamepad anyways.
It's a good point. I mean, you do make a good point, yeah. So I don't know, and it's just
I felt like.
Go ahead,
Jeff.
Jeff.
I was just gonna say I felt like the whole useless screen for the Wii U on the TV was pointless while you were doing that. On Super Mario Maker, random prediction, it's gonna be a deluxe edition with Super Mario Brothers 2 as a part of it.
They should do that. Yes, good call.
I didn't even think of that. Slam dunk. That's good.
That would be awesome. We all think it's pretty much this year at some point though. Mario Maker.
Yeah, I think that's a good filler for
it's too popular to leave it on the Wii U at this point, right? Like it's just too popular. That was one of the most watched games on Twitch and YouTube for the longest time.
Well, I made a list a while ago what I consider the top 10 best Wii U games. I made it towards the end of the Wii U's life cycle, and I put that as my number one because I consider it a game that has almost infinite replayability. As long as people are making maps, you can just play it and play it and play it.
And I'll tell you, John, you bring up the YouTube and the Switch thing too. I feel like if Nintendo is really smart and they do bring a Mario Maker over, they would be so smart to cultivate an online community and not. I know they have such bad practices around.
They'd be smart not to claim every single video that uses Mario footage. That's what they would do.
Yeah, seriously, they need to do something better there. And that's a game to do it, man. They should like encourage people to get online with Mario Maker. They should
add that little button to like immediately share things.
Yes, yeah.
Immediate postings or even live stream from your.
Dude, they're literally making an army of content creators for them. Then if they do that,
well, it was the vision. They'd be basically executing on the vision that they tried to make with Little Big Planet. Little Big Planet was supposed to be like reward the creator with the creation, but it never quite fully clicked. It was always
they tried so hard to get that to work out.
I love those first two games too, man. Those are good games.
Yeah. I like the PSP one too. People hate on it, but I thought the mobile one, the portable ones were good too. They're interesting.
We got a couple more here to read. This is from Windex Fighter 77. Luigi's Mansion 3 in October for Halloween with a question mark. That is cool. Yeah, your dream. I was playing a Luigi's Mansion arcade machine. It was done by Capcom, which was pretty funny to see Capcom's logo next to the Luigi's Mansion thing. But I would love to see that for Halloween. Or would you rather see a more horror-oriented game like an Eternal Darkness?
or
Fatal Frame.
Yeah, Fatal Frame. I'm writing about Fatal Frame for this week's Top 10 Thursday. I'm writing about Fatal Frame right now. And I definitely think Nintendo really pushed that last game, and it didn't sell well. But I 100% blame that on Wii U just not really taking off.
Yeah, Luigi's Mansion you get away with, though. That'd be cool.
They also didn't do justice to Fatal Frame in North America because it was hard for us to get that game, and then it was digital only. And
Yeah, digital
I
only.
think
Yeah.
that they kind of created their own problem in a lot of ways with that. And the game is really great. So yeah, I kind of want all of those games. I want Fatal Frame, Eternal Darkness, and Luigi's Mansion.
Didn't they overly censor it as well? From what I recall, didn't they do a bunch of random
Fatal
stuff?
Frame?
Yeah.
They didn't release it physical.
Some
Digital only.
No, it's
costumes. There
yeah.
were costumes they didn't have, or they covered up some parts of her.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
This is
Because
like, come on, just.
Well, no, it was basically just that a big aspect of that game was water. Like there was a bunch of water ghosts. And so there's actually a wetness meter. And as your wetness meter increases, you like go more crazy. And her top would basically become slowly more see-through in America. Magically, it's not getting like more boobage.
Yeah.
And they wonder why it didn't sell.
Hashtag more boobage.
Rabbit Hatter wanted to weigh in on the Switch Mini situation that we were talking about. They were saying you don't need a Mini, you just need to sell the Switch without the dock for $200 because the dock costs $90. The only problem there is I know the dock is not worth $90, and you would still have to include the HDMI cable and the power cord. Without those, they seem to sell it for about $60. It's not even really worth that, to be honest, after taking apart and looking at it. So
you don't need the HDMI.
Yeah, you don't need the HDMI. You don't need that. You still need the power cord. The power cord's $30 on its own. I'm trying to figure out what else they could really take out of there. They could take the Joy-Con, or those the grips. They could take those off because you don't need that. The whole grip, really, everything like that. So maybe they could get it to 200 without all that stuff, but I don't know. They would have to remove a lot of stuff that you'd have to buy separately. I don't know. That's tough. I guess you get away with it, but.
I still think if they manage to do it, that thing is going to be unstoppable. It's going to be a steamroller.
$200 is way too good to pass up.
Yeah, and if they knock the execution out of the park, I do think you're right. It'll probably be so huge. But they got to do it right and not make it confusing, like we've kind of said, I think.
Yeah.
I think they need to do it 2DS style. If they pull it off, I think it's going to have to be 2DS style of like you literally just like tone down advertising of your current product because it's already selling like hotcakes, and you just do a short spike of advertisement for your new thing. It'd be like, hey, it's different because of this. It's not a taco. It's a taco instead of a clamshell, whatever, you know.
Nicholas,
basically how they sold the Game Boy Pocket back in the day, where they just showed like pictures of people dropping a tiny little Game Boy into their pocket, be like, this is what you can do with it. Cool. Mm-hmm. Like that's what I want my Switch to do.
Nicholas Cage dropped 2 in the super chat, and he actually brought up what I assume has become the most popular meme now, Ben Swallow.
Yeah,
I assume that's just the most popular meme.
Dude, I have this great meme, and it's like Snoke. Snoke is like looking at it, and he's like, Kylo Ren's wearing the mask, and he goes, "Take that stupid thing off," and it shows him like it's the screenshot of him standing there, and it's like with everything off from the waist up, and Snoke's like.
There's so many good ones.
There's some really good memes out there, man. You get a lot of weird, awkward milking memes out there too. So
yes, I love
a little bit of both, man.
Let's see. Laserdisc Man dropped 5 in saying retail version of Wonder Boy is out this month. Plus, ESRB confirmed a retail version of Sonic Mania back in October. 2K should commission AKI to make a Switch-only WWE.
I mean, would they do that though? That's you guys play WWE. I'm not as familiar with.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's super bad. Yeah,
it's very bad. They still have yet to patch it. It's still bad.
It's the only game I traded in so far.
Yeah, it's just not good. Didn't you buy Wood's version?
Yeah, I bought Wood's copy.
A retail version of Wonder Boy is cool though, and then I did hear about Sonic Mania getting a physical release. That's cool too.
I might double dip on that one. I think I'm really excited.
If it's still only $20 or something.
Well, what if it's like
probably going to be $30
or something?
Yeah, but I mean, they already sold the special edition even for the digital one, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, I got the special edition. There's no physical in there. They better give it to me for free.
There you go.
You got to walk in with the complete box. You're like, "Hello, this is my man card. I'd like a disc, please. Thank you."
Yeah,
right in the box.
Do you see this, Sonic? Now give me the game.
Let's see here. Jib Jab dropped $2 in asking if there was any update on Pocket Rumble. There is not. I don't know what happened to that game. I've asked around, heard nothing. I don't know. It's a shame because Evan, you have that game.
Every time I walk by the patch notes for it in Steam, it's always just like, oh, we're rebalancing this. It's always something really minor.
It has something to do with the online play, from what I've been hearing. Something about that is just not working right with what they're doing on the Switch for some
because
reason.
they're using that special code that was developed by the fans of Street Fighter, those guys from Shoryuken, and maybe it just doesn't work.
It's something they're just trying to figure this out on the Switch, and I feel like it has something to do with online play, just from what I've heard. But I've sent them emails and stuff and just haven't heard back, so they're probably just not ready to say anything at this point. And it's a shame because that was supposed to come out in March. That was supposed to come out the launch month of the Switch.
Yeah, that was like one of the first games.
Yeah, and now with the Street Fighter collection coming up, even if they drop it, no one's gonna care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the problem. They're gonna battle it out against a ton of Street Fighter games on one cart. It's not gonna go over well. So I don't know how that's going to
Blade Strangers.
I haven't even heard of that.
Yeah, well, whatever that means, I agree.
How has nobody heard of Blade Strangers? Coming out like hopefully this March.
It's like just two random words. Jesus, bro, you haven't heard about Crown Socks?
Oh, that's the game. That's the game done by Nicholas.
Yes, man, that thing is gonna be legit. Like characters from Cave Story and Code of Princess are gonna be in it.
That's actually becoming a really big thing in fighting games, I've noticed, with the blendings from other stories and stuff.
It looks gorgeous.
That's on Switch and PS4 in 2017. It says. So you said March though, Sean?
That's what they're saying. Yeah.
Okay.
If I can get that in 90s or Super 90s GP or whatever the fuck they named it this year, that's all I need, man.
Let's see, and then we have I saw one just okay, here we go. $5 from Mark Greenberg saying, "Will you let Nintendo Prime come on the SpawnCast?" Yeah, sure, I don't mind. I'll look them up, but yeah, that's fine. We can do that. So I guess that's everything for tonight. There's one more super chat because somebody wants to. I always tell you guys I don't mind rating somebody at the end when we leave. Somebody brought up Review Tech USA. He's streaming right now. So I will let you. I'll let you guys rate him, but I'll drop the link in the chat, and then you guys know you go there all at once. So
I guess the only thing I've
actually been talking to Rich now and then in email, so he's actually a pretty cool guy. So that'd be pretty fun to rate him.
I'm
go ahead.
Super glad to hear that.
Go ahead, Evan.
Yeah, we only have one other thing from Discord talking about the selling rate of the Switch being about 120% over like the fastest selling. I know we already talked kind of about that, but this is more of a, what do you think it will close out at in terms of sales by the end of this coming year? Because at its current rate, 28 million isn't too far off.
Oh, by the end of its 28 million.
Second?
Maybe that'd be a second because
so by the end of 2018 or by March 2019.
Yeah, I think it's
the top selling number the Switch can sell for its second year. So maybe
second year. Okay.
Total.
Okay, second year. Yeah, total.
Yes,
okay,
for
that's
the whole year.
That's fine. That would be next March then. Yeah. I already said by the end of this calendar year, which is past 13.86 million. So they'll probably be finished somewhere around 15 million, I think, for their maybe 16 million for their fiscal year.
For the fiscal year.
Yeah. So I think they might be closer when it's all said and done for the next fiscal year. I think they'll be probably at 33, 34 million, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they'll be right behind the Xbox One already.
I mean, yeah, if they do the same, if they have the same kind of success in sales that they did this year, like it would just double up 14 to 15 million and 13 million or 30 million sounds really good. But here's the thing, because you bring up the Xbox One sales, which is true. Like the Xbox One is like at 35 million or something right now, and the Switch might be at 30 million in a year. But still, the Xbox will have been selling throughout that period too. So that's probably still going to be a gap. But I think by 2019, it's almost a shoo-in that the Switch is going to surpass the Xbox.
Here's the problem with the Xbox and Microsoft, though. They don't tell us their sales figures. Yeah. That's the biggest problem. We keep guessing. Yeah. Whereas Sony and Nintendo are super mostly transparent about what they're doing.
What is that with video games, man? Like, sales are such a weird secret in video games. What is that about?
Yeah. Well, I mean, most of the time they tell us.
Across the board.
Well, the other weird thing...
They'll tell you if they're doing well, and if they're not doing well, they won't tell you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
The other thing that annoys me about video games that I feel like people who are in video games don't really notice is it's weird that everything is so secretive in video games. Like in movies, people tell you when they've bought a script, when they're talking to directors, when they're beginning to start shooting. Like they tell you every step of the process because they want you to be excited for it. Whereas like video games, they don't even talk about it until a full trailer is out, and then it's like, by the way, we've been secretly working on this giant robot dinosaur game for 3 years. Like,
yeah, very different. Yeah, and even the like box office receipts are not a secret. You can get every 5 minutes, like the next tickets that sold for a movie or whatever. Yeah. But you can't find out how many copies a game on the Switch sold. It's like so weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so All right, I guess that's we're just about at 11 now, 11 p.m. So I guess we're all done here. I'll give you guys a link in a second. Rich appears to have slow chat on, so he's already challenged everyone to this. So we'll do that. But I'm gonna let you. We're gonna go around here, and we're gonna start with let's start with Rob. Where can they find you, Rob?
Yeah, my channel is called Rule of 2 Review. It's Rule of the number 2 Review, and that's what my YouTube channel is. And same on Twitter and Facebook. Mostly Twitter. I use Twitter all the time, so that's where you can find me.
Okay. Yeah, people are saying we hit like number 5 or 6 on trending, so that's pretty good, I think.
Sweet.
Nice.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Let's go over to Sean. Where can they find you, man?
Find me on RGT85. Hopefully on Nintendo Enthusiast soon. I need to get back to writing. I've been slacking. We got a Nintendo Direct predictions video coming out tomorrow. Myself, 8-bit Eric, and Wood from Beat 'em Ups will be on the video together. And then this week, I don't know what I got planned. I just kind of make it up as I go along. But yeah, check me out.
That's cool, man. That's cool. So you got to start having me in your videos, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, same. I feel so left out.
Yeah.
Well, Sean's gonna live like 20 minutes away from me soon, right?
Yep.
So there you go. Very good. Let's go over to Jeff. Where can they find you, man?
I am SmashJT, and yeah, I'm working on a couple videos, maybe doing a Nintendo Direct predictions one, but I don't want to really copy Sean on that, so maybe I won't.
No, do it, man. Like Wood's doing one. I think fucking Eric's doing one. I was just like, I told him, I was like, yo, I want you to be in this video. Like, oh, it's a good idea. I'm gonna do one too. And it's like, just send me.
I'm doing one too. Now,
fuck it. I mean, hey, just use the same. Use the same SEO, and we'll all do good.
Very quick. Brian dropped $2 in asking No Man's Sky on Switch, yay or nay? Go.
Nay.
Nay.
I'll say yay. Sure, why not? It's another game.
Okay.
Yeah, go check out SmashJT. He's up and coming YouTuber doing some cool stuff over there. And do we have his Evan, can you drop his YouTube channel in the chat if you get a chance, please?
Okay.
Just get him over there.
YouTube.com/SmashJT.
Yes, he's coming up on 3,000 subscribers, so
Nice.
go help him out.
Hit that 3K.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So who do we got? Oh, Dreamcast guy. Max, where can they find you, man?
I'm just youtube.com/Dreamcast guy. Same for my Twitter. I've got an interesting project coming up for Monday. I want to talk about just all the stuff about hacking. It's so interesting that the PlayStation 4 has been hacked, as you've talked about SpawnWave, and now they're really so many independent teams right now are trying to crack the Nintendo Switch, and I think the whole thing is interesting. So I kind of want to address it though. Of a lot of people are really not happy about that. A lot of Nintendo fans are actually really like angry that people are trying to hack this. So I kind of want to just address. I think the whole situation's interesting. So that'll be up Monday.
Okay, very good. And then Evan, you got your art channel and everything. Twitch. You're doing Twitch. You do a lot of Twitch.
Yeah, Twitch. I do mostly Twitch at this point, just because it's so easy to drop in, just play some games or do some artwork.
Do you have your Twitch?
Yeah. I mean, I've been modding this whole time. I just got
cool.
on a freaking chat. So it's just that. You can go to kimricksproject.com and just links to everything.
Cool, man. Very good. So I think we got everybody right. I got Rob too. Did I get Rob?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, good. All right, we're good. Here's the link, guys. Go ahead and hit. There we go. Review Tick USA. Go ahead and hit Rich. Let him know. Let him know where you came from. SpawnCast. Let him know, guys. And I guess that's it for episode. This is episode 40, right, Evan?
40. Yep.
Yes, I got it right. All right, good.
The big
episode 40. Yes, the big 4. We're cut up. We're what, 12 episodes away from doing this for a full year?
Wow.
52, so. Man. 52. Very good.
You're gonna have to have
like
15 guests on that episode and make it just a total
chaos
fest.
We'll answer one question. Everybody takes a turn, and then we say goodbye.
Let's get everyone who's been on. I'll just get everyone who's been on SpawnCast before, and we'll just drop everyone in.
And finally, we'll try and bully Arlo into it. So that's all chat. It's always just get the freaking puppet. We're trying.
I've been talking to him. He's a cool guy. All right, I guess it's going to do it here for us tonight, guys. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. See you then.